codes. Please scan and register to win. We are going to have a few door prizes given away today from some of our wonderful sponsors. If you haven't gone to visit all of our sponsors, we will have a break after the first hour, and you guys can go and visit them and all the wonderful things. We're very grateful for them and making today possible. But Mario Victorica, come on up. Oh no, he's giving me the hold on fingers. Woo!
You want me up here?
All right. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I got a podium.
Is this on?
Guys, y'all ready for this? Yeah. Y'all ready? Who drove from out of San Antonio to be here?
Hello?
Flew. Who flew? They flew. Okay, sweet. So we're going to get started. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous. This is an amazing event. I'm super, super blessed to have all of y'all here, guys. It's going to be an incredible event. I wanted to take the time before we started to tell everybody that's here, thank you, especially the ones that followed me on this journey, because literally a year ago this month, we took one of the biggest risks, which was to depart from EXP and return to connect with the right people and build this incredible, amazing organization that we're doing an event and partner with the right people. And it's crazy to see all of y'all here right now. When we think about the biggest risk we've taken, and I see this and I see what we've done in the last 4 to 5 months, it was well worth it. And guys, I'm so excited to welcome our speakers here, to have our CEO, Leo, here. For y'all to be here learning and soaking in that everything that they pour into you, make sure to think of questions that you want to ask and ask them. Don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Use this time to really put out there what you want to learn and what you want to use to grow. And guys, thank you for being here. Speakers, Leo, Vero, Jay, Art, everybody that helped us put this together. Thank you all so much. And to our agents and everybody here, let's grow, baby. Let's grow.
Hey, before we get this started, we do want to recognize and welcome and thank our sponsors. If you guys, again, have not met them, couldn't have made today happen without our friends from Perry Homes, our friends from University Title, AmeriCorp Insurance, I don't know what the A is for, home warranty, Next Gen Lending. What is the A for? Armadillo? Armadillo, okay. Next Gen Lending, Providence Title, My Insurance Group, Home Warranty of America, and Direct Rate. Can we put our hands together and thank all of our sponsors for making today happen? Yes. Super honored and grateful to get to be here with you guys today. Today's session is called Leaders Who Build Leaders. And when you guys talk about the future of real estate, we're talking about leadership that understands both agent and architecture. Business is architecture, right? Mr. Leo Pareja didn't inherit a seat at the table. He earned it by building, leading, and scaling at the highest levels. As CEO of eXp Realty, Leo represents a new era of leadership, agent first, innovation driven, and unapologetically bold about where this industry is headed. If you want to know where real estate is going next, this is one of the people shaping that direction. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our CEO, Mr. Leo Pareja.
Good morning. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Is this on?
Yeah.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
I love Texas.
Yeah, thank you for being here, man. We're so excited. You're not allowed to ask questions because we have an agenda and we got to stick to it. So give me weird looks later. But we do have some questions for Leo. And please, yes, ask away questions as we go through this. We wanted to talk initially here about the first question is around what actually moves the needle. And again, if you guys don't know Leo, go look up some stuff. Okay, I don't know where you've been living. But we wanted to ask you, Leo, if you had to strip away everything that you've learned over your career and point to one habit or discipline that most directly changed your trajectory in real estate, what would it be?
Reps.
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 Tell us.
Winning is actually not giving up. It's so basic, right? If you take real estate specifically, the attrition ratio is through the roof. 66% failure rate in the first 12 months. 5 years, it's a 90% failure rate. Have you ever experienced that realtors only come in 2 flavors? I just got my license, or I've been doing it as long as the 3 of us, right? And that's it. Like, I was running around with Jay when we were like 23, going to Matt Wagner events, who's coming this afternoon to hang out with us, to figure out how we were doing. And back then, we were the little kids in the room chasing Curtis Johnson around, trying to figure out how it's done. And the craziest, and you can actually find these statistics on everything, like college graduation rates. Like most people wash out freshman year, and like a small percentage make it to their senior year. The most fascinating thing about entrepreneurship is, first of all, you take this leap that is terrifying. And how many of you read The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber? Raise your hands. Hi. Not enough. All of you go read that book. E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I think it's the entrepreneurship Bible. But where entrepreneurship is born is almost always by entrepreneurial fit, because you become good at the thing, at being a doer, whether it's baking pies, doing accounting, being on a team, and all of a sudden you go, I'm better than this idiot I work for. See or no?
See.
And then you get the courage to go do the thing. And by the way, it's probably the biggest rush we ever get in life. It is terrifying. It is inspiring. And I think the tricky part is that that feeling is actually euphoric. And I actually see it all the time, and I coach some of you to not take your eye off the ball of the thing that works, right? Because we like that feeling. And so if you've known entrepreneurs, been entrepreneurs their whole life, one of two things happen. One is they get bored and they go subconsciously or consciously and go blow it up. Or worse, go, I'm going to go start this other thing on the side. And in real estate, it might look like ancillary services before you've actually gotten to scale. The amount of agents who will get on a phone with me and like, I want to do expansion. I'm like, great, you did $20 million last year. Until you get to like $400 million, I don't want to have this conversation with you. Like, you have one thing that works, and it's not sexy sometimes because it's repetition, right? But can you imagine the arrogance to think that you're going to beat the person who is spending 80 hours a week on the one thing while you're doing 4? Right? And I'm not even saying getting outside of just your vertical. Like, have you ever met an agent who's like, I just focus on prospecting and I do the Mike the Ferry thing, and they're like a machine? And then you're like, oh yeah, I have Zillow and I have Google and I have this and I have that and I do open houses and I do this. Like, pick one thing and become so good at it that people fly from across the country to learn how you do it. And that makes you the most amount of money. So I think the biggest thing is quitting too early. And this is the scariest caveat that I've learned. How long do you think it takes to get really good at something, at a business? Statistically speaking, 5 to 7 years. And so there's two things there. One is you quit at year 3. And then you just went back to the starting line. And you all have this friend who's like, depending on how old you are, like in 2004, it's like, oh, I'm going to do loans, then I'm going to do real estate, and then I'm going to do title, and then I'm going to go right back to real estate because it's good again. I'm going to get my LO license now, and I'm going to do both, and I'm going to be both the LO and the realtor on the transaction. I would obsess and become really good at that thing. Like, I would argue that I haven't sold a house in 11 years, and I think I can beat most of you head-to-head on a listing appointment today if you set the appointment. Because I've memorized every single objection that a human being could have in selling a house if they're ready, willing, and able. Most of you don't pre-qualify well enough. And by the way, that skill set that I got incredibly good at translated really well to attraction. And by the way, it also translated really well when I sold hard money loans. And it worked really, really well when I sold enterprise software to your MLS, right? Because it was ready, willing, and able. Do I have all the decision makers sitting with me at the kitchen table? Like, the worst thing you guys do is get the lead, set the appointment, and then sell the husband or the wife without the husband or the wife at the table, right? Or you paid attention to the wrong one the entire time and didn't actually present value to both parties. I can keep going on that thread, but
No,
you,
man,
you,
I
you got
love
more
that. You want to
questions.
switch mics so that you get a better reception over here? Because cut out a little bit on you. Here you go. Does anybody have questions? Check, 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 check. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. I don't need a mic. All right. Does anybody have questions for Leo around moving the needle? I know you might have other questions, but you guys heard some substantial context there around repetition. Does anybody have any specific questions in this dynamic here? Check, check. Buenos dias. No. Anybody? All right, we'll go to the next question. Now, this one's a little deeper rooted. It's to kind of get you guys into painting the picture, because sometimes you guys think, oh, you have these phenomenal speakers up here. As you heard, he didn't inherit a seat at the table. He earned it. So did all of our speakers today that we have the honor of spending time with. So this next question is really designed around helping us understand when we talk about and look at the perspectives of looking from failure to strength. Let's look at this together here. And the question is simple. Can you share a decision or a season that felt like a failure at the time, but later became a defining advantage in your leadership or business?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The financial crisis. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I got licensed at 19 years old, and the year was 2001, 2002. And I had an incredible run in real estate as a young man that I did not realize that I was a creature of the market. I really thought I was that good. My senior year of college, I did $306,000 in GCI as a full-time college student. I drove an X5. I was a giant pain in my teachers' asses. I made more money than my professors. I would actually debate them, and I was a prick. I then became the youngest Keller Williams broker ever in the system. I ran an office of 200 agents. I owned part of the office. I got up to 14 properties. My accountant told me I was worth $5 million when I was 23 years old. 11 months later, that same accountant told me I was worth negative $1 million, and I negotiated short sales on all my properties, and I very embarrassingly went to BMW and turned in all my keys. And that was the greatest lesson I'd ever learned. Because one is I learned I was not special. Have you guys read Outliers?
Yes, sir.
By Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah.
I read it around that time, and it actually pissed me off. Because I felt it robbed me of my hustle and my greatness. To be reduced to being born at the right place at the right time bothered me. Now I'm really grateful because I was young enough to not have had a wife and kids when I got my ass kicked. That I could literally shrink down to living on like $600. Like I was paying my bills doing BPOs at $50 a pop. And I didn't have to take any kids out of school. I didn't have to like put them in public school from privates. I didn't, because my older friends did. And so I was able to shrink down much faster than everybody else. And I literally lived on like $2,000 a month total, right? Not just for like renting a room for my friend for a while. And I became a student of data. That's when I became obsessed with if you listen to Tony Robbins, one of the most important skills as an entrepreneur is pattern recognition. And I think some of you accuse me of having a crystal ball. I do not. I just read a lot. And I look at stuff, and then I try to find a parallel that's happened before. Or I look at an adjacent industry that can give me a clue. By the way, I only need to be ahead of the market by 6 to 12 months. Because I normally can spot the trend, and I obsess with what I call directionally accurate. And if something is directionally accurate, I can just bet in that general direction, and I tend to win more than others. And so what was arguably the most traumatic thing became the greatest gift because it rewired my DNA. It was like, I actually prescribe to a theory that I talk about all the time, which is I'm remarkably average. I'm 170 pounds. I'm a 43-year-old married guy with a beard. There's 80 million men. Like, look around. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Right? Like, I'm remarkably average. And sometimes you guys think I'm being like funny about it. But then I also think about that in every group that I exist in. So for example, I am obsessed with AI optimization of everything we do. I actually don't even tell you how much I am because it would scare you. Not because I want to get faster, stronger, better from a profit standpoint is that I know that every other CEO of a company with the size resources I have is also as well. And I am doing it out of pure survival of the fittest. If you thought of it, just assume you're not that smart. And somebody else is also doing it.
Man, I love that. So I was going to ask you, I'm writing down questions, and we'll open it up here in a second too. From your experience and throughout all the years, how common would you say the struggle in the real estate industry is for agents that you've coached or collaborated with or had experiences with over the years?
Ask it differently, I'm not following.
How many agents in this room do you think have struggled or will struggle if they want to go on the path to true greatness?
No, wrong question. Humans struggle. Right? Like, we overcomplicate it. Like, we're an emotional bag of liquid with all the same traumas. My mommy didn't hold me enough. I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too young, I'm too old. I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. And we're all just dealing with our shit while trying to interact with other people full of their own shit. And so all of it comes down to being able to control that little voice inside your head that's talking to you in a very derogatory way at all. Like, most of you would throw hands at someone if they spoke to you the way you speak to yourself. So the question you're asking is just like, can you control the words you use with yourself and have the discipline to do the shit you don't want to do every single day?
Anybody have questions for Leo around failure turning into strength? Anything personally that you want to share, that you want to open up with, that you want to ask? I'm the only
Group
one.
therapy, I'm not charging right now.
Yeah. In English, please.
So, Leo, whenever, I guess what I want to know is, you personally, what is the one thing that you use for motivation when you were or when you're...
We are all going to die.
Hey, that's the next question.
I go there a lot. I'm not joking. Did it kill you? It's a rhetorical question because you're still here. When we are on our deathbed and we look back, 99% of the stuff will have been irrelevant. And do this exercise. Like, think of something, again, absent of like losing a loved one or horrible abuse that exists in the world. But most things that you actually lose sleep at night that happened to you 8 years ago. Like, it's trivial to you now. Like, there was a dude who pumped me on $750,000 when I was like 27 years old, and I had some bad thoughts. I can barely remember his last name today. Like, I have to pause and go, well, yeah, that was his name. Right? And this is a crazy thought. In 100 years, everyone you knew will have died, and no one will remember you were here. So, do the thing. Just, who gives a shit? Like, enjoy the ride. You got one.
Woo! I love that. Woo! Good question. I love that. The next question we're going to jump into with Leo is a little bit about the market, right? So again, a lot of you guys are always talking about blaming the market, having different concepts, and he dove off a little bit into it. But the question is, in shifting markets, some agents grow while others disappear. What separates those two groups? I loved how you touched on it in their thinking, behavior, and or strategy.
Again, it all goes to mindset to me, right? In 2009, I used to say to my team, we are not participating in the downturn. And we were like the number one in our market in the country. Every opportunity, so statistically, downturns create 7 times more millionaires than good markets, right? Like, raise your hand if you're selling homes in 2021. Like, you had to compete with everyone's stupid third cousin nephew who got a license. See or no? Is that happening right now? No. Right? Redfin just said the average discount to list was 7.8%, like in the last quarter or something like that. Like, you better be able to articulate your value. You better actually know how to market a house. Like, I won't embarrass anybody, but if I were to call on you and I want to hear your listing presentation and what do you do different than everybody else, can you all articulate that if I were to hand you the microphone right now? Yep. I would want 100% of your hands to go up. But I'm not going to do that because I know some of you are like, oh, shit, he's talking to me. A lot of you, your listing presentation are the 3 Ps. You know what they are? Put in the MLS, put a sign on the ground, and pray. I told you I'll smoke your ass at a listing presentation. You need to explain to me how you can create value better than the person sitting next to you. And if you don't believe that in your soul, you shouldn't be in this game. Like what I internalized really early on is I didn't want a friend or family member to not receive the level of service I could give them. Because I think they would have lost equity and or an opportunity. That was the mindset I had when I was an agent. And by the way, that's the mindset as I have as your CEO. Like if you're not with us, you're missing out on something special. And that's the platform I want to create every single day.
I love that. Anybody have some questions around, thinking, behavior, strategies when it comes to, you all heard and you all agreed, right? Things are different now than they were in 2021 when everybody was just falling out of the sky. Anybody have questions around this for Leo? Yes, ma'am.
What kind of articles or where do you get a lot of your data to be able to be 6 to 12 months ahead of the game?
So one is to understand the macro and the micro. Because we live in an information overload world. So what is happening right now is your customers in San Antonio are reading national headlines. There's always a disconnect. So like right now, there's a lot of articles. I get calls from news who want me to talk about Southwest Florida. Like Naples and Coral Springs and Cape Coral, they're down year over year over 11% in purchase price. Like full on double-digit depreciation. And somebody who's a first-time homebuyer in San Antonio sees that and they're like, mira, I want to lowball the house by $100,000. Yeah, that's not the same, right? So your job is to distill information, right? There are jobs that are coming back as their interpreters of information overload. Like the travel agent disappeared because of Orbitz and Travelocity. That's one of the fastest growing businesses now, where people are like, there's just so much information. I need an expert to distill it and hold my hand. So what I would implore all of you to do, if you're focusing on listings and buyers, is to actually be able to can you articulate what the inventory absorption rate is? Right? Like if you're in a subdivision and there's 23 listings available, you need to be able to explain to the seller that on average, only 2 of them are selling a month. Right? And if you want to, I just explained to you the comps are 349.9, and if you want to start at 375, we're not going to ever sell the house. You're going to sell the other house priced at 349 because you just made wait, these are the same? Cool, let's go with the one for 349. But psychologically, seller's like, well, let's try it. Well, what you're doing is selling the 349 house. If you're serious about this, we probably need to be at 325 right now. Because the buyers don't have to negotiate. The buyers don't have to do anything other than show up with their bags. And so I would obsess with as much local information, the news, like economic data reports. One of the most effective things I've witnessed agents do is become the local interpreter of that information. Like do a short form YouTube thing and then chop it up into social and be like, San Antonio just passed a new zoning rule on ADUs. Comment details and I'll send you the interpretation. And by the way, the interpretation is take the report from the zoning agency and throw it into GPT and say, make this consumable for a consumer. Translate what this means. Right? And as you get really good at that, you may find out, like Kyle Whistle with us just shared on a mastermind the other day that he found a neighborhood that got rezoned that you could put multifamily on single family lots. And if the comps are like 800,000, he can actually sell them for 1.2. Like, can you imagine calling a seller and be like, hey, Zillow says your house is worth 800,000, but I can get you 1.2 million bucks, and I have 3 investors ready to go. Like, how valuable is that, right? That is so different than what everybody else is doing. So consume as much national information as you can, but also consume as much local information so you can translate that. So being prepared to answer. It's like, well, my brother said in Cape Coral, well, I appreciate that, and I know where that information is coming from, but we're different here. We have military bases, we have blah, blah, blah. You fill in the blanks. We have oil, whatever stimulates that local economy, because people flew in from other parts of the country. So become an expert in your local market.
I love that. Good question, Giovanni. Thank you. Anybody else have questions for Leo around proofing questions around market shifts, dynamics? Yes, sir.
You said you like recognizing patterns. What's the pattern you're seeing play out in the next 6 to 12 months?
The one you guys all need to be obsessed with is getting as curious and fluid about AI as possible. And I think it's like blah, blah, blah. Like you hear it everywhere, but like apply to all the parts that you hadn't thought of. So in my lifetime, and I'm going to talk about this later on at a mastermind today, but like someone just used the word polymath with me for the first time, and I didn't know what it was, which is the previous version of that was Renaissance man, right? Like there is the famous saying, a jack of all trades is a master of none. Do you guys know the rest of the sentence? A jack of all trades is a master of none, but it's better than a master of one. To be widely versed in a lot of things is good, right? And if you look at history, it was actually celebrated. Think of the greatest polymaths in the history of the world. Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt. And then the Industrial Revolution came and we glorified the specialist. I think the combination of YouTube with AI, you're unleashed as a human being. You can learn anything you want right now for free. And it's the coolest moment in history that I've experienced so far, right? Like, as you can tell, I read a lot. Outliers. What's the definition of mastery?
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. That's 3 hours a day for 7 to 9 years. Do you guys know that the definition of proficiency? How long it takes to get proficient at something? Like passing grade. 40 to 90 days doing it for an hour a day. Like you could get conversational in another language if you played with Duolingo for 3 months. Like if you know you're going to Europe this summer, you could download Duolingo, and by June, when you guys come hang out with me and you speak on Paris, you guys could learn enough French to communicate at a restaurant. This is not a question, this is a statement. You could do that with anything you want now. Like once upon a time, you would have to find a second language immersion program that was being taught in your city. You could go to ChatGPT and go, hey, based on how I've communicated with you over the last 2 years, can you recommend the most aligned learning method for me to learn fill in the blank? And what activities I can do every day for 30 minutes to get me to where I want to be? Like any of you who've been struggling to do anything that you fall apart on, like you can build a custom project inside of a GPT or Claude or whichever your favorite robot you like to tell all your secrets to, and it can hold you accountable in a way that nothing that, like I have a health one that I built where I uploaded my blood work. And I say, help me eat for my high LDLs and my low HDLs while maintaining me in fat loss. And I literally take pictures and said, is this okay? They go, not for you, homie. That's not on the fly list, right? Like for someone who wants to be in ketosis is fine, but you have high LDLs and low HDLs. And then you can actually ask why. Because once you can understand the concept, so I think we're living through a phenomenal moment in history. And so I would implore you to treat it like a co-pilot, right? If this was 10 years ago and I was telling you guys about information and data, I would be saying that information is the new oil. I actually had it on a slide once upon a time. Information is now ubiquitous. All of you can look up anything like that. I think you need to pivot towards, if you're in real estate, it's attention. Like you all need to be building personal brands. But you now have this companion in a robot that can coach you in just about anything you want. And you can literally say, how do I do this? Find me the best rated YouTube video that explains to it based on how you think I learn. And show me that video. Give me a link to that video. Like I was making a recipe for this delicious cottage cheese-based cheesecake. It was actually, like, Ariana could not believe it didn't have sugar in it. And she said, like, I want this in a cute little jar with a lid on it. And I said, hey, give me a link from Amazon for a portion of what you just described to me. And he was like, okay, cool. And I just clicked the button and I got the cute little thing she wanted to put it in. Like, and think about that we're just shrinking time. If we're all gonna die, and I have a limited amount of time to have fun, enjoy, learn, grow, this thing makes me go faster, stronger, better. And that's the one thing I cannot create more of.
Oh, that was great. I love that. Awesome. Thank you. Great question, guys. We're going to jump into this identity shift question, which Leo's been touching on, speaking life and love over, but we're going to get a little deeper with it here. So the question is, he's talking about the mindset of like, man, I'm going to die one day, right? So when it comes to looking at the dynamics for someone who wants to move from, man, I'm the top agent in my office, I'm always number one, I want to actually be a leader. Like, what happens when that shift doesn't occur? And tell us a little bit about what you've experienced with it.
So I would ask you, why? Why do you want that thing? Right, so I talk about this a lot. I believe there are seasons to life. And again, you hear a lot of other speakers talk about it. Who's 20-something years old? Raise your hand, really high. Your superpower right now is energy. When I was in my 20s, I could work 12 hours a day, and I could do it 7 days a week, and I would still go out drinking Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like, if you're friends with me and you text me after 9 o'clock, I'm responding at 5 in the morning. Because I've been asleep for 2 hours. Right? And so, first of all, is recognizing the season that you're in. Like, I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I leave my house very little. Right? Like, we've optimized the entire calendar of this company to accommodate my kids. And so I do them 3 times a year, I move it around, and then I maximize. Like, I landed at 12 o'clock last night. You guys are my second appointment. I met with someone at 7 in the morning. I'll do 3 more before I host a mastermind that'll go to 10 o'clock at night. Then I'll do it again tomorrow, and then Thursdays with the corporate team, then I'll go home. But last year, I was away from my kids an average of 3.3 nights per month. Think about that. And you see me a lot. Because I'll do a lot of one days. During the school year, I only stick to Texas and East. I rarely get to the West Coast. And in the summer, I spend a lot of time in Europe with our agents, but then I spend a bunch of time in California. And then the California agents know, like, now I'm yours. Now you guys get me for a couple of weeks and I'll do a bunch of events in person. So the question I would ask you is, what season of life are you in? Right? When you have no dependence and you're not gonna hurt anyone, you better work your ass off. Because what I did in those years is I collected reps. Like, I now, in 1 hour, can create more output than 23-year-old Leo could. Because 23-year-old Leo just had brawn, but no brains yet. Same IQ, I just hadn't lived enough. So now my ability to recognize a pattern is like, in 24 years, I've seen something similar, so I know how to say yes or no very quickly. And so to that point, I would always go to the why. Why are you, like, when Glenn tried to convince me to join him, I said, I don't want to travel. And you want me to run your company, and I think that involves traveling. And he goes, you need to go to EXPCon, and you got to do maybe the Inman New York. And outside of that, then you get to say yes or no to everything. Right? So I feel that I'm more available to you guys than other CEOs. And I have a yes policy. If you DM me, I'll refer you to Andrea, who's here, and she will put you on my calendar when I'm available. So it's not if, it's just when. Sometimes it's like 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. But I will do 14 appointments per day when I'm home. I start at 9:30 after I wake up, go to the gym, make my kids breakfast and take them to school, because that's how I fill my cup. And then I'll go hard till about 4:45, and I take my son to jiu-jitsu, my daughter to singing. And I do that every single day I'm home. And that gives me the energy to do this sustainably for a long period of time. And I think most people don't know the why. Like, and you don't have to confess it in public. Is it for your ego? And by the way, that's okay as long as you're aware of the why. But like, to me, the biggest bunch of bullshit is when you say you're doing it for something and it's the opposite, right? Like, oh, I'm doing it for my people or I'm doing it for my kids. Then show up to their fucking games. Dude, I do not have dinner with anyone in Miami, period. If you fly to Miami, I don't give a shit who you are. We're not having dinner. I will have breakfast with you after I've dropped the kids off at school. I will have lunch with you. I am very, very available. But these things are non-negotiable to me. And by the way, in a different season, if my kids were in college, Ariana and I were just talking about this the night before. I think we would have a tiny condo in Brickell, and I would be nomadic. And I would just go from city to city every other 2 to 4 weeks. And it would be a blast. But I'm not willing to trade that in this season. And so the question you need to ask is, what are you doing it for? Like, just you and your thoughts. Be honest with because if you can't tell yourself the truth, there's a bigger problem.
That's good.
Woo!
Woo! Anybody have questions for Leo in this context? Because we are going to dive a little bit deeper into like this whole confidence under pressure here next. But anybody have anything here specific that they'd want to ask?
I do.
Tell us.
So I know a lot of agents struggle with that. I personally did struggle with it a lot. And
We've talked about it.
We've talked about it. You told me to find the joy in what I want to do. And since then, my mindset has changed a lot. And I clock out and I go to my family at 4:30. I guess what advice can you give? Because as soon as I heard it from you, my mindset changed. I took action and I changed it because my why is my family.
And how do you feel?
I feel amazing. I feel amazing because going back to the why do we do it? Why have we been doing all this? Why do we do what we do? And it's for them. And just like you said, show up to their games. Sometimes we're there, but we're physically there, but not mentally there. So that's something I needed to change. And I changed it.
And if you need help, just leave this thing in the car.
Amen.
It's like, if you're that addicted, you need to create a system where you break.
So my question is, for those agents that are struggling with it, because I did struggle with it for a while, so I heard it from you. What advice can you give them for them to change that mindset?
So, I mean, like, if you're stuck there, you have to go way more basic. Like, you do not control your time. Most of you do not know what you do for a living. Again, if you need like shock therapy, like reset, it's an exercise that I advise people do all the time. I tell you to do it like once a year, is for a Monday through Sunday, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, write down everything you do in 10-minute increments. And you will find out what you do for a living. And a lot of you play on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference between playing and creating content and engaging with your database. Raise your hand if I've personally commented, liked one of your pieces on social media. You two better raise your goddamn hands. Think about that. Do you see how many hands went up? What percentage of the room went up? No, it's not. Like, I'm old enough where I used to send mailers from my Brian Buffini box out of my top producer.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm that old. And like, I had to hope that Brian came up with some good shit that was not a waste of people's time. You literally just have to be connected to the people who like and trust you and just be a human being. That's amazing. Congratulations. I'm so proud. Oh my God, your kid's so big. I barely recognize him from when I put him in the home. That's it. Do not debate somebody or Bad Bunny or was a good show, you pendejos. Seriously, create a little bit of content that expresses your confidence as a professional and be human. Raise your hand if you follow me on social. Do you know that I'm a father?
Yep.
Do you know I'm a husband?
Yep.
Did I have to tell you before this talk? No, because I share myself. But do you know I'm a competent executive and I'm a thought leader? That is by design. I'm choosing to show you that. And I'm showing you enough of me as a human being so you don't think of me as a robot. Do you guys think of me as like this executive that's detached from society? Like, do you think of me as an ivory tower, publicly traded company CEO?
Nope.
Nope. It's different. Right? He shows up in a blue blazer and the Patagonia douchebag uniform, and he's not wearing a hat. And I speak their language. Right? And you guys do the same. Right? Would you speak a little bit differently if you're in front of a developer who could give you 50 listings? Right? You guys don't know what you do all day. And if you become intentional about it, you get like 10x return. Right? Like, I've come to the conclusion I've officially ran out of time. I cannot do 83,000 one-on-ones. I would love to, but the way I do it is if I leave my house, Rich is with me at all times. Do you see this? This hour is impactful one to many, but we will also, you will see clips of this on the internet for the next 60 days, right? You'll notice that I have the same outfit on for like 2 months. Because every time we leave the house, Rich flies with me and I appreciate that he meets me and and the coolest stuff is the shit that I didn't know was gonna come out of my mouth. Where I'm like, hey, Rich, clip this shit later and put it on the internet just so people know how we create it. And the key is to make it authentically you. Like 3 years ago when Sharon showed up, he stressed me the hell out. I was like, this dude is a beast. And I had the realization I could never beat Sharon at being Sharon, but I could smoke him at being Leo. Right? And he could never beat me at being me. And so you just need to capture the part, because like there's something about you that appeals to a multiple back to the like we're remarkably average. There is something about each and every one of you that connects with people in a way I can never connect with them. Because they like and trust you. They see themselves in you. Like she did it, I can do it too.
Leo talked about some good things there, identifying like what season you're in. So the next question really kind of keeps pouring into that, right? When everything feels urgent, let's say an agent can actually identify what season they're in. Maybe they're young and don't have kids or empty nesters. Market shift, team issues, personal life. What advice would you dispense to them on like how do they decide what they personally give focus and attention to?
Dollar productive activities.
Tell them again one more time.
Dollar productive activities. Like, the other thing that's interesting is people think my life is like remarkably different than it was when I was selling houses. It's not. I create a lead at the top of the funnel. I nurture it. I convert it. I have lots of conversations. I build rapport and I close. Nothing's changed in 24 years of being an entrepreneur. Right? Like the coolest part about this is we're all just a tribal species of monkeys that like other human beings. And you go around in life deciding if you're the tribe and you're like-minded and you're going to do business with them, whether it's like collaborating or consumer to vendor relationship. It's that simple.
That's a great question. Does anybody have something they want to ask? He said dollar producing activities. Yeah, Ryan Oberhammy.
A little question about maybe what you mentioned a second ago, more about the personal of being a realtor. We often want to connect, who we are as a person with our business. How do we maintain that mental when things start going forward, where we start taking things personally, and maintaining the professional mindset that we need? How do we have a healthy balance?
That's a really good question. There's
Ryan.
a couple ways to answer that.
He ChatGPT.
One of the funniest things I ever heard was from Brian Buffini when I was like 20 years old. I was sitting in a mastermind and he goes, do you know what the absolute worst part of a jackass client who's disrespectful and rude is? That he actually likes you and refers you to his jackass friends and family. And it's so true, right? You need to live by a standard of what you're willing to tolerate. And part of that standard comes from abundance. Like if this one deal is the difference between me paying my mortgage, I am fortunately going to put up with a lot more shit than if you're one of 23 pending escrows this month. And then you know what? We're good. Vaya con Dios. Right? I release you from this agreement. And so I think that comes from drawing your own lines in the sand. Like, you're not going to talk to me like that. Or we're going to go out in the parking lot and I'm going to throw hands at you. And so that is a standard you need to create for yourself.
I love that. Great question, Ryan. Anybody else around this dynamic here? Don't be shy. You don't have to be all formal like Ryan and stand up. You can just yell from your seat. No? We're gonna got one more question for Leo, and then we'll open it up to any questions that y'all want while we have time with him here. This question is called the hard truth question. What's the hard truth about success in real estate that most agents don't want to hear but need to?
I mean, I think I've answered it the whole
A
time.
lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing about entrepreneurship. It's you against you, right? There is no manager who's going to put you on a PIP if you suck at this. And so the other thing I say to people all the time when I have a microphone is I encourage every one of you. Raise your hand. Did all of you get your 1099s from me? You probably just got them, right? All right. Now this was going to be very personal. I need you to take that number and divide it by 2,080. Yes. And you all have it because I just mailed it to you. I know I did. That'll tell you what you made per hour last year. And you need to have an honest conversation with your partner. And you should decide if that's fair to do to your family. Because some of you are going to go, I'm killing it. I make like $75 an hour, $120 an hour. And some of you should go get a job. You should quit. I am giving you permission if you suck. For your family. Because you will be home for dinner. And you will be home on the weekends. And they'll give you a paid vacation. And they'll give you health insurance. And it's okay to have a bad year. But is it fair to your wife or your husband? And the opposite is also true. This to me is the single greatest entrepreneurial opportunity from the dollars you risk for the potential income you can make. I've scaled and sold several companies where I had to raise millions of dollars. For roughly $500, you could be in this business and you could make high six figures, seven figures per year. But some of you are also missing the most important parts of life. And you need to go get a job and get out of my industry because I take this very seriously.
Dang. Ooh. Ain't clap it up for that. Probably made a few of you feel weird, but I would gather to say not many of you who are in this room because most of you are super invested in wanting to stay connected. And so we got a few more minutes with Leo. We definitely want to open up the floor, and we see JJ's got his hand up. So think about it. If you need a chat GPT, a good question for Leo, take your phones out and chat GPT. JJ, hit us.
So as you scale our incredible company, what leadership skills did you have to unlearn in order to help us grow?
So leadership is an interesting word and concept because we're not taught it. Like if you think about the educational system, we're taught to be employees, like factory workers. Like we don't reward failing. And failing is the only teacher that actually teaches you leadership. And so as I joined this company, it was a conversation with Shep Black. Because 4 years ago, we kind of had a existential awareness of like, wait, we're not the only ones with a cloud-based model and revenue share. There's these other kids who think they're cool too. And I asked Shep, I was like, what do I need to do to lead these people? And he goes, just show them what they need to do. Do you think I like making social media content like a 14-year-old girl? Like, does it matter how I feel about it, JJ? right? I was like, I'm going to go show you what you all need to do every day. Because the next time one of you goes, well, I don't have to, bullshit. I have time and I run a public company. My definition of leadership is demonstration. There's not a single thing I expect the leaders that I keep pointing to do that I don't demonstrate for you every single day, probably at higher volume than you would do it at. And so I think there's a big difference between managing, right? Again, most of us were never taught how to lead. You were good at a thing, let's say if you're at a job and you were the best waiter, and they're like, now you're the manager and you don't know shit about managing. And so I think it's being willing to show your people what it is you want them to do, and being able to do it at a high level, demonstrate competence. And so I always go back to that. Like, if I don't know, I go try to hire the smartest people I can. Right? Like, I'm extremely proud that this company is not about me. Like, we have an incredibly deep bench of super smart people. And you get out of the way. Right? Glenn described to me that this company is an experiment in distributed leadership. So if you look at our competitors, they have like presidents of the West and vice presidents and regional presidents, and they have this whole hierarchy that then recruit and big signing bonuses and negotiate contracts. Glenn just took that money and gave it to the people who helped build the company. And it's on you guys to be highly entrepreneurial. Like, think about this event put on by Mario is at a very nice venue with a lot of people and high value production value. Like, this doesn't happen at a franchise business. And Mario would need to own the region or the offices for it to make sense. And you guys can all make money together, right? So it's an experiment. I don't know that I've seen another business like this. So, but I think in my experience, leadership has come down to demonstration, right? It's like, raise your hand if you're a parent. Like, one thing I read recently that hit me like a ton of bricks is like, your kids will always find out exactly who you are in the end. So, like, don't bullshit them or bullshit yourself. And in the world we live in today, there was a video from Gary Vee in 2008 where he was ranting on YouTube and he said, we're about to enter an era where everyone's going to find out exactly who everybody is. Because everything, like, every time I open my mouth, there's a camera for the last like 10 years. Right? And so just figure out who you are and don't bullshit yourself and don't bullshit others.
Amen. We got a few more minutes. Is Giovanni, you got another one you want to fire out? You want to be formal and stand up or come up here and make it weird?
I did use ChatGPT because I don't need another motivational voice right now. I need Leo. We have Leo in the room. So the questions that we're asking need to be powerful regarding EXP. So I don't know how to bring it out. But I want to know, as real estate consolidates and platforms gain more leverage, where do agents risk losing power? And what is EXP doing structurally to prevent that?
It's a great question. GPT.
ChatGPT, I like it, Giovanni.
So again, philosophically, I believe I'm the antithesis of the other side. We are agent-centric. Like, our entire platform. So I struggle when I sit down with an independent broker that's got like 1,500 agents, because the broker's like, well, what are you going to do for me? And I'm like, I'm actually not the best fit for you. I'm the best fit for your 1,500 agents. And so the driver of that question is to the consolidators that are corporate owned, versus, even though we're one corporate owned entity, I view our system as franchise light, which is a dangerous word because it's heavily regulated by the government. But like, for example, Jay didn't call Glenn and go, hey, I want to buy the Midwest territories and I'm going to sign a 10-year agreement and now I own Region 13. And then Jay would have the ability to then go sell a franchise to Veronica. All of you, the day you hang your license with us, have the opportunity to participate in revenue share if you want to. And so we've created a flywheel that economically compensates folks. And so as companies consolidate, I see the value in the fact that I can buy stuff cheaper. right? I can include more product. I have more buying power. I just spoke at Inman and I actually gave the analogy of the airlines. When we were kids, there was a lot more airlines in this country. When we were kids, there was a lot more health insurance companies in this country. And again, I actually don't attach meaning to most things. I don't think anything is intrinsically good or intrinsically bad. It just is. And the coolest part about it, a human being is you can decide if you want to participate or not. Right? Like a couple years ago when broker to broker, the whole settlement statement, I was talking all the time. It was fascinating to me because one, nothing really changed. Life went on. But I remember talking to agents who had talked themselves out of the business. We're like, I'm not going to be able to ask for my commission. And they had already decided that. So I believe that there is information and you can consume it and then you can decide, right? So I think there is too much worrying that happens. What if? Well, as we get information, you process it and then you get to decide if you still want to do this. So I think we will be one of the surviving winners. Like I'll say that I think 3 to 5 years, I think there's only going to be 3 to 5 companies that control 60 to 80% of the US real estate market. And that's never existed before. And again, industries can be fragmented for hundreds of years until they're not. Like in the late 1800s, there was 118 railroads, companies. Now there's Amtrak, right? And technology matures and businesses mature. And again, I'm not ascribing, is that better or worse? I'm just telling you we're going to be one of them.
We got time for one more question, guys. Don't be shy.
That hand went up.
All right, which one?
This
The guy
gentleman in
with
the
the
tie.
beard or the guy with back there with the big buffness?
The tie, I saw
we
it
got time for
first.
2 more. Hit him, Mike.
I've been in the industry 11 years, but in the past 7 months, I've been getting into the agent attraction space. The people that you see do it at the highest level. Like, if you could simplify it, what would you say about it?
So I don't make assumptions. I did a lot of research. So we have an agent attraction toolkit. So please go find it. And what we found was 5 avatars of people who successfully did it at a meaningful amount of revenue per month. And it's basically leaning into your gifts, which is how I think of everything, right? There's like an avatar, and I refer to you guys as avatars all the time, not in a bad way, but just personas. Like I used to build software, so like you have a persona that you're building software for. We have an avatar that's the former Keller Williams manager. Those humans used to go into the office as team leaders and do their 10-4-4 and make this many calls and this many appointments. Like those people crush it. We quietly have a bunch of killers that make 10, 20 grand, 25 grand a month with like you wouldn't know their names, but they're like, dude, this beats the shit out of going to a Keller Williams office. I get to work from home. I have no liability. No one's yelling at me and threatening to fire me. But I have the self-discipline to do that. If you were to tell me that was my job, I'd want to go play in traffic. Like that's not how I'm wired, right? Then we have the coach. We have some of the best coaches on the planet who literally had a product that was, $4.95 a month, $9.95 a month, and they created a bifurcated value proposition where it's like agnostic, generally available to the population. You don't have to be with EXP. You can consume Girls with Grit product anywhere you want. Or you join our tribe and now it's included in the value proposition. So you create a bifurcated system. Avatar 3 is the events high energy person, right? By the way, events are the single best conversion. Raise your hand if you're not with EXP.
Can we tell a story about events really quick?
Sure.
I don't wanna do it, but you were at this event, and so we had our live event last year. We had in the EXP room, we had 220 people, and we're able to convert 180 of those 220 people to EXP. You were there.
I may have closed a little bit for you guys.
Absolutely.
Give me the numbers again, Tara.
220.
No, 180 divided by.
220. Yeah, 180 came over to EXP from 220.
So if you set foot at EXPCon at any of our cons, within 6 months, we have a 68% conversion ratio if you're not with EXP. Theirs was 81%. But they did it in a really cool way where their general population was 600, and they forbid me from selling from the big stage. But then there was, if you are curious about, and you want Leo to pitch you, there's a closed door event that is limited, and he was going to hard sell you for now. And 220 showed up, but 220 of 600 is pretty good. 500. So the conversion numbers were really good. So that works. That works really, really well. The fourth one is production. I will show you how to go from X to Y. And people miss that one, how I said it. A lot of people go like, I'm gonna get you to 100 deals. And people go, that sounds terrifying. I'm at 8, homie. I'm trying to get to 15. Get away from me. 100 sounds terrifying. Like most of you don't listen. Do you want to hear how I do every prospecting call? Tara, we have 30 minutes together. I do not want to pitch you anything you've already been pitched. Someone's already explained this company to you. So first of all, I want you in the driver's seat, and I want to answer any question that I'm uniquely qualified to answer. So you walk away with some value. That's it. Shut up. Your excitement's coming from a wonderful place. This company has changed the lives of a lot of you. And so you're like that cartoon character in Looney Tunes with the puppy, right? And that's how you come across. Like, you're stupid if you don't join me. I've heard some of you. And if you're laughing a little too hard, that's you, bro. Right? And then I asked him another question. If 5 years from now we were sitting together and you just smiled at me and you go, man, it was better than I thought. What changed in your life? And you'd be surprised at the answer. Some people's like, I want to sell less houses. I want more time. A lot of people want more time. So when you start selling the revenue share, they're like, shit, that sounds like more work. Leave me alone. You don't know. You have no idea. I have jumped on calls and been surprised. It's like, hey, I want to retire in a different coast and I want you just to show me how I can build a secondary team. That is not what I sell. I wouldn't go to that unless I asked a question.
I love that. Great question.
Oh, the fifth one is social media influencer, right? Like top of the funnel, go, Mike Sherrard, like you could, Joshua Smith, like massive digital presence to a webinar to conversion. 5.
Nice. Good question, Mike. Appreciate it. Hey, Leo's been gracious enough to give us a few more minutes, so we're going to go ahead and let Pedro ask a question because he's flexing on me. So go ahead, Pedro.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Leo. For me, this is a little bit personal, but what's one decision you made that felt small at the time but changed everything for you later, both personally or family and also in the business?
That I was going to live authentically in public.
Damn. Did y'all hear that? That sink into y'all? Pedro, ask your question one more time.
Yeah, so what is that one small decision you made that felt small at the time, but it changed everything, both in the business and also personally?
Yeah, just live your most authentic. I almost remember exactly when it happened. I'm a decent public speaker, and Ariana and I were sitting at a Gary Vaynerchuk event in 2014. It was like a room this big when it was still Gary Who. And he dropped an F-bomb. And Ariana goes, that's what you're missing. She's like, that's how you talk. And when you teach, you're boring because it's your representative. It's Professor Pareja. Like, just be you. And that's when everything changed, right? Do you guys feel more connected to me as a human being because I showed up just like you talk to your friends?
Yep.
I called you out on some bullshit. I spoke to you like a friend would, right? Do you show up like this for your customers? Like, I think you guys trust me more because I don't come across as some like CEO who's worried about the corporate stock, blah, blah, blah.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that, Leo. We got time for a few more. Who's got one over here? Yes, sir.
Hi, Edward Carry Homes. So thank you for having us here for this. I'm a builder. My question is just more, or advice, I guess, is how as an industry partner can we kind of merge together and help each other out, or help maybe we're pre-owned versus builders? Is there a difference or advice that you would give them or myself on how to connect better or how we can serve each
Yeah, I
other?
mean, I'm always data driven. Just find your avatar, right? Like I say this a lot. We are not for everybody. Like if you think you're, luxury and you want Class A space and you want, high, expensive hard stock, and the receptionist to get you your coffee, go to Sotheby's. I'm also not going to charge you $85.15 forever with a 6% royalty. Like I'm the home of the entrepreneurial agent, and I'm hyper aware of that.
Love that. Good question, Edgar. We got a few minutes for one more. You already asked one, man. Calm down. What about you up here in the front row?
So you've given us a lot of great insight today, so thank you for that. But as a new agent, what would be your biggest piece of advice?
Join a team. Find a team leader who you want to be like when you grow up. And not just production, as a human being. Join a team. It'll shortcut everything. When you're a brand new agent, your goal is to do 50 deals as fast as humanly possible. Because nothing can teach you stuff until you buy that first washer and dryer because you missed the checkbox. Right? Until someone threatened to take you to court because you didn't explain something correctly. You need reps. I started with reps. I'm going to end with reps. It's just, you need reps.
Good question, yeah. Let's make it really weird. What about somebody who's not with EXP that has a question for Leo? Oh, you're gonna be all shy. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just here. All right, well then we'll let Marcos talk. Laredo's in the house. Hey, we had to tell him to leave yesterday so that he'd be here on time, but great.
My name is Marcos. I am from Laredo, it's a small city in Texas. What advice can you give me to start doing ASAP to grow EXP in a city that was dominated by Keller Williams, and because of a bad reputation, agents left, became brokers, and now there's small companies that run the city, and they're scared of corporate companies now.
Yeah. Again, first, I don't try to convince anybody of anything. Demonstration. I already covered that one. Show them who you are and how you operate, and give. Like it's the Gary Vee jab, 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 right hook. Too many of you sell. I don't think I've sold you anything. If you've ever interacted with me, I don't sell. I ask a lot of questions. And I genuinely need to believe that being with me is better than not. But there's a lot of people that I ask a lot of questions. I'm like, yeah, you're not going to do any better here because your business sucks. Your business model is not product market fit. So one is you only need one person to shift. I'm sure you joining us has been transformational for our brand in Laredo. And so as you continue to shine, people will get curious. Around attraction, you know what the most attractive thing is? Production. Like nobody gets a real estate license to become a recruiter. That's facts. If I can show you how to go from X to Y and couch it like that, where are you at? 50, cool. What do you want to get to? 100. I have 10 real examples I can introduce you to and give you the playbook of what's worked in a similar market like yours. And just lead with value.
Question. Do you give yourself a time limit, or you just do it and let it happen?
I think one of my superpowers has been that I live in the dichotomy of now and 5 years from now. I am hyper focused on the short game and know that I have to move the ball down the field right now. But I also have like plans that are 5 years. Like who likes EXP University, right? And Fast Cap. That took me 4 years to get it to where it's at. But like I wrote it down. I was like, I want this. Cool. How do I do that? I need the guy who built maps. Well, he worked at Century 21, and he had a 1 year non-compete. So I had to wait. I had to convince him to quit. I had to wait for it to expire. Then I could negotiate with him, and he trusted me that I would give, like, I wasn't allowed to negotiate while he was employed. That would have violated his non-compete. And then I was like, cool, now we got to build it from scratch. And so be okay with the long game. Like, human beings grossly overestimate what they can do in one year and grossly underestimate what they can do in 5 or 10 years. Like, I think next month I'll have been here 4 years. I'm getting warmed up. Like, I'm thinking 10 years from now. Right? We will become the single largest brand on the planet while I'm sitting in the seat. But the when doesn't matter. I actually don't give a shit. It's just a BHAG that you guys can rally with me around. And it's the journey that matters to me.
I love that. Thank you. Mario, close us out here as we get this time with Leo.
So I have 2 questions.
Is that okay?
Just one. So that I thought about.
Andrew, I'm starting to look at you guys funny.
For our team leaders, so we went into the team topic, right? What advice can you give to a team leader? Because we do have a lot of team leaders right now that are just starting off. What advice can you give to those team leaders for the next 12 months to the next 5 years on what they're doing?
Well, first of all, I would have asked you, should you be a team leader? A lot of you just have a social club. I said it. The only reason you should build a team is because you ran out of time and you're throwing leads away into the trash. Period. A lot of you have teams because Veronica's really cool and you're not as good as Veronica. You need to become a beast at converting listings. And when you run out of time, you give your buyers to a buyer's agent. And then when you run out of time, you get a listing partner. Like, a lot of you need to maximize your net income. Our #1 solo agent, her name is Artemisia Boston in Minnesota. That woman sold 224 homes, made $2 million in GCI, netted $1.6 million, and has no team. So I reverse it, be like, do you need a team? I think you need a team when you ran out of time and you're losing money. Other than that, it's ego.
Oh, let's follow up.
Last question. For our guests here that aren't with the EXP, what advice do you give them?
So Veronica reminded me, we have an amazing program called Team Leader Academy, where we will teach you all the foundations by studying the top teams. It's the foundation of it is EOS, Entrepreneur Organizational Systems, and we'll give you the playbook of how the best teams in our company run.
Love that.
Ask
that last question again.
So the last question, for our guests that aren't with the EXP, what advice do you give them?
Ask yourself, who do you want to be surrounded by? Right? Like, people overcomplicate things. Companies are collections of human beings. Every single day, we're choosing the tribe we're affiliated with. And by the way, I don't use the word family ever with you guys. And it's like, words matter to me. I think it's disingenuous to call company families. Because we all have that primo who I wouldn't let park the car. But if he calls me in the middle of the night, I'm there because I love him. But I won't let him like process commission checks. And so tribes are by choice. Right? I call the corporate team a team. And I want the best player in the position to catch the ball when I throw it, and I want to disproportionately pay them because they're the best at what they do. And if you drop the ball enough times, you don't get to play on my team.
I love that. Hey guys, would you guys all join me in putting your hands together? Thank you, Leo.
you so much. Guys, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a 15-minute break, go around, meet our sponsors. If you guys did not meet our friends, the ladies from Girls with Grits, they're right here in the middle. All girl power, love it. They want to talk to me. But we'll take a 15-minute break, and then we'll come back with our second set of speakers.
We're gonna do
Leo,
a
thank you
quick
so much.
photo. If anyone wants to get right in the middle here, Leo. Everyone, we're good.
You want to get on the chair? Or you can behind? Who's in, guys?
Are we shy?
Who's in, guys?
Stand on the table.
Testing, testing. Okay. Try and get as good as we can. I'll do a cell phone. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Daniel, come in. Can you take a picture? Yeah, so we can.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right.
So like 1 billion of them.
I'm gonna take a break, so help yourself to whatever you need. Let me set the timer back here because I gotta maintain control.
Take the Pareja. I'm gonna take the Pareja.
Yeah, so we'll leave that one here for them.
Oh, I might take the.
Okay, and then if we can get like 4 routers up here, because there'll be 2 speakers.
How many? Two? Four. Four.
Yeah, that way they have 2 each. Check, 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 check. Hey, boss. I ate a half a muffin. I'm just so excited. I don't know.
That was so good.
Yeah.
I know what to do now and we're gonna make it so.
You're doing great.
I was just journaling and diaries. It was making me so happy.
Why? Thank you, sir. Check, 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 check. Check, check, 1, 2, check, check. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. Hey guys, we're gonna get the show started back in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes, grab your drinks, grab your food, get to your chairs. We got some more phenomenal partners coming up to speak here shortly. Grab your chairs. We're gonna start in 1 to 2 minutes, roughly.
It's entitled, it's called an escrow open. We're really not holding it back. For no commission. Basically, you gotta have the yes.
All right, guys. Hey, 1 minute. Make your way back to your seat. Get your drinks, get your snacks. We're going to start in 1 minute. 1 minute.
Because that is, if it's not in the tree, then it's going to be like, well, why is he getting it? Yes. Be prepared, what is it?
All right, guys, get your seats. We're going to get this show started here shortly. Where is Mr. Matt de la Cruz? Where are my friends from Meritage Homes? They disappeared. Do you want to bring me some of your money? It's digital money. All right. Let's start getting situated, guys. We're going to get this second part of the show here started. No, I didn't know if it was like actual. I don't know if like y'all had little gift cards. Huh? I'll just send you mine. We're going to do 2 now and 2 later. Okay, sounds good. Let me do a giveaway and then we'll do it. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to get this show started here. If you registered earlier, we're going to do our first giveaway. Does anybody want 100 doll hairs? Anybody out there want $100? All right, well, keep your eyes on the screen. $100 will buy you a couple of drinks at the Century Club. 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky. We're going to give away 2 right now and 1 more at the end of the show. Our first winner is Rolando Lopez. Who is Rolando Lopez? Must be present to win. If you're not here, too bad. You're not going to get anything. Is Rolando here? Okay, hey, find the Meritage girls. They're going to send it to you digitally. Apparently, that's a cool thing these days. All right, settle down, guys. We got 1 more here. Let's see who our next winner is going to be. If you guys do want to call her out, Inez did put her name in here 15 times, so we're going to let that slide. All right, Bernadette Martinez, are you in the house? Woo! Bernadette's buying drinks later. See the Meritage girls for your digital gift card. So thank you guys all for being here. As you heard before the break, we have so many amazing people here with us today. We want to introduce our friends, the ladies. If you did not meet them, from Girls with Grit, they wanted to come up. Woo! They wanted to come up and say a few words. If you guys don't know them, use ChatGPT.
Yeah, actually, ChatGPT says we're the #1 female real estate coaching company nationwide, which is really cool. So, I'm Jamie.
I'm Tara.
That's Lauren.
She's Lauren.
We don't have names anymore. We just go by the Girls Look Great. That's fine. I see a lot of incredible women in here. In fact, quite a few of you came up and said that you were at EXPCon. Introduce yourself to us. Like, please come say hi. Like, we love meeting y'all in person. It's our favorite thing, actually. But we just kind of really wanted to come up here and just tell a little bit about some of the events that we've run. In fact, where's Mario? There you are. Sorry, right in front of my face. This is honestly like such an amazing event. You guys give it up for him and his team. And that's coming. We do a lot of events. We do small events, we do big events, we do retreats, we do a lot of events. And so we've been to a lot of events, but we saw the graphic, we saw the promotion. We're like, we got to be there. We got to get in the room. We got to get to know him. We got to get to know his agents. We want to be there. You guys, this is where connections are made. This is where friendships are developed. This is where you hone your skills in real estate, right? Is coming to these events. And so the three of us kind of got together this morning. Once we got here, we said, man, we got to do something special for Mario and his people. So what we decided to do, any ladies in this room, did you guys know that we're hosting our annual event just up the road in Austin this year? Did you guys know that? We'll have 700 women in the room. As of right now, we have over 550 tickets sold, so we have just under 150 left. And we wanted to personally extend an invite to every single woman here to get to our event. It's in April in Austin, and we're going to give you guys a $50 discount off our tickets. And I think the biggest thing that we want to really translate to y'all is getting in the room, bringing your friends, and basically showing them the experience, right? You guys heard Leo up here say how powerful events can be. We see it. That's why we do them. And we just want to make sure that you guys get in the room. What was it you said? Bring a friend?
Bring a friend. Bring a friend. If you guys heard what I said earlier at our last event, we had 220 people come to our EXP Explain call. V was there, right, Veronica? She helped us so much just last year. And 180 ended up coming over to EXP or co-sponsoring with us in one way or another. So if you have somebody that is not currently with EXP and you want to bring them to the event, come. We will help you, and we will help you connect them back to Mario and whoever brought you to this event here, because this is how EXP builds. This is how we make sure that we're one of the 3 left standing, right, that Leo talked about before. So if you're interested in coming, we never do coupons, ever. Look, V even asked us for a coupon last year, and I think we were like, but we're going to do, if you'd like to come, you guys can go to girlswithgrit.com/live, $50 off your ticket. It's a 2.5-day event. The code is Mario. Okay, the code is Mario. If you want to come, and actually, I didn't even talk to the girls about this yet, so I might have to pay for this out of my own money. But who is willing, a female in this room, who's willing to share something that you learned this morning that is going to change your business and the way that you're going forward? First person to raise their hand and share that, I'm going to give a free ticket to. Polka Dots over here. Tell me your name.
Polka Dots.
Okay, Amanda, stand up. Tell us what you here. Tell us something that you learned this morning already that is going to change your business, and you're getting a free ticket to Girls with Grit Live.
I learned that when Leo said it's you against you, and I have a lot of I get nervous and things like that just to be in an event, but it's me against me, so I got to break that.
Love that. How many of y'all are playing the comparison game right now? You're like, oh my God, she's so good on social media. I can't do that. It's you against you, ladies. It's the discipline. It's the everyday. So,
yeah, so we just want to extend that invite, and we actually have a free ticket for your wife too. So we want to make sure she's in the room. Lady Leaders is what it's about. In fact, wasn't this event called Leaders Who Build Leaders? So that's what we're going to continue to do. So thank you. Go to girlsofgritlive.com/live. Use the coupon code Mario. I think the tickets start at $279. So you'll get $50 off that. Is that cool? We want to see you guys there. Thank you.
Super Mario.
Hey. All right, y'all, we're going to keep this party going. Leaders Who Build Leaders. I want to introduce one of our next 2 speakers coming up. Some people talk about growth. Some people engineer it. Mr. Jay Kinder is one of the rare leaders who has built multiple 7-figure businesses, scaled massive agent communities, and still still stays focused, obsessively focused on the one thing, which is helping agents win in the real world, not just on a whiteboard. Jay is known for his blend of mindset, leadership, and execution in a way that creates momentum quickly. If you've ever wondered what it looks like when strategy meets heart and actually produces results, you're about to hear it from the man himself firsthand. Please welcome Mr. Jay Kinder.
Now, let me just, I'll tell you guys, I mean, how many of you are using Funnel Pilot or any of the tools that we've got out here?
Right on.
People to talk to. You're going to maybe speak to 30 of those. You're going to set 5 to 7 appointments. You're going to sell 1 or 2 houses. That's part of what you guys all have access to. So make sure you get plugged into Funnel Pilot, Funnel Fridays, and let us help build out your systems. If you're not doing that, so we can help you guys increase your conversations per day. I'm all about seeing production. Every single person that came up to me, all of you just about, talked about the deals you're doing, the calls you're making, the work you're doing. That's what it takes. I'm super proud of this group. There's very few rooms you go into where you feel like everyone is a grinder and a hustler, but I can tell that all of you, that's built in the DNA of what Mario's created. What you guys have built here is amazing. I'm just blessed to be here. It's a privilege for me to be here and share with you guys. Anything you ever need, you always reach out to me. I'm happy to help.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Jay Kendrick. And his friend who's going to come up and talk to us today. If you want to know what the definition of a modern real estate powerhouse is, we have Ms. Veronica Figueroa. She didn't just build success, she built people. Teams, leaders, cultures, and systems that scale without losing soul. Veronica is known for her ability to see potential before others see performance, and then create environments where that potential explodes. She is proof that empathy and excellence are not opposites, they're multipliers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Veronica Figueroa.
So we get the honor of talking with Jay and Beto about a couple different dynamics today in the marketing space and in the building space. So still same concepts. Please, if you have questions, do not be shy. Do not be afraid to ask. Use ChatGPT. Think of something clever so you don't sound dumb when you ask the questions. Fair? We're going to jump into the first one here in regards to marketing evolution and scaling systems. So Jay or Beto, whoever wants to kick this off, when did you realize that the old way of marketing wasn't going to sustain long-term growth? And what forced you to pivot? Y'all heard some stuff from Jay, Beto, anything that you chime in with this as well in regards to the marketing? Go ahead.
And then you can close about the systems. So for me, I'm gonna just make it very relatable. I had to find a way to scale very quickly. I was a mother, well, I am a mother of 5, and I needed to figure. It was really hard for me to raise a family, sell 100 homes, and not miss out on moments in my family. So I figured out really quickly one of many. I knew I needed to make it part of my strategy to connect with people who had an audience. So I'm just taking you way back, and that was before the technology, that was before social media. But just if you could just kind of wrap your head around that, that was what propelled me to immediately take action on the power of one-to-many. So I saw what the agents in my market were doing, and I was like, this is too slow. Like I need to be able to impact on people. So taking you back to when there was no social media, it was who's the neighborhood mayor? Who is the person who's the connector? Who are the businesses that I know I can impact and help? How can I shine the light on them? Where do I want to host my networking events? That is how I cracked the code quickly. It wasn't perfect, but I figured out that concept pretty early. So when technology started coming into the picture, I'm not trying to age myself. Some of you guys don't even know what this is. I was using 0.2 agent as marketing. He talked about top producer. I was 0.2 agent. It was bootleg. But I didn't have a lot of resources when it came to technology. Technology back then was really expensive. But when you guys, when Facebook and social media came to, I was like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life? I've been doing this, belly to belly. Now we have the ability to amplify this. So I figured out amplification, one-to-many very quickly, and I was like, I'm going all in on that. And then of course, Jay will talk about systems and scale, but that's how I was scaling back then. It was a little archaic. And then with the power of obviously technology, it was game over. I was like, this is the solution I've been praying for. And I think it's just something you can translate from before to now where we are today and still apply that same principle.
Yeah, so back in the day, y'all remember Craigslist, most of y'all do, right? So back even before that, on Realtor.com, you used to be able to add HTML code to the actual listing, and your listing would be like pages long with all of these links you could drive back to a website and generate even more leads. You could get away with that. So we stayed on the bleeding edge always of generating leads. Like, then if we could figure out a way to generate more leads, I knew I could get into more conversations, I could set more appointments, I could sell more houses. That's just what I learned. There was no referral. There was very few people that I did business with that, I was new, right? So if you have, by the way, I'm not saying the lifetime value of a customer, if you create a raving fan, is the most important thing that you can build. So repeat, referral, networking, but you can't just go hit that lever, right? Like if you met someone in the grocery store and you got to talk real estate and you sold them a house, go back to that same grocery store next week and do it again. It doesn't work, right? So it doesn't scale. And so all of those things I'm just randomly doing that are making sales every once in a while were great, but I needed something that was predictable and consistent. And I knew that if I had more conversations with people that had raised their hand, that was the way to do it. And so I learned early on that marketing was kind of the secret, and that if you just could increase the number of leads you're getting by any means necessary, that is the answer. And so once you get to a certain point, if you don't have leads, you're not having conversations. It all tracks together. And so starting to track that was early on in my career, and after that it was just like it's a game of marketing. It's a game of conversations. If you have enough people that raise their hand or are interested in buying and selling, you will sell more real estate. And so that was very early on. I learned to crack the code. Oh, you can post that on Craigslist. What's your offer you're making? What is it that a buyer wants? What is it that a seller wants? And once you kind of really start dialing this in, it's even way more fun today with ChatGPT. It is ridiculous what you can do now. But it's all about understanding what's the avatar, who are you going after, who's actually moving, and your marketplace is different. When I talk to people in New Jersey, and we look at where are the buyers coming from? They're leaving the boroughs of New York and moving down to New Jersey. What are the hopes, fears, concerns, desires of that person? Why are they making this move? Once you really start to get in the mind of who you're looking for, you can start to create marketing to generate those types of things. And that's what we do.
I love that. I love that. Y'all heard some powerful things there from both Jay and Beto. When it comes to understanding that old ways weren't working and they had to make some pivots, does anybody have questions in relation to that? We're going to get a little bit deeper with some of this, but anything specific here? I know some of the 20-year-olds don't know what Craigslist was. Take a deep breath. I don't know if y'all were on the call with Beto last Monday, but Brent was talking about one of his agents does like 50 plus deals a year running Craigslist ads still.
Yeah, that's still out there, really?
Yeah, he said like when he runs Craigslist ads for his buyers and sellers who coincidentally call him. I forget what market Brett said he was in, but it was crazy. Just
this business it's phenomenal. You can make a $10,000 commission on a $3 lead. Think about that. Like you can't do that in any other industry, in any other business, and you generate a potential $10,000 commission just by learning the skill of marketing. You can. And that is, if you're selling cars, you got to buy the car at a price, sell the car at more than what you paid for it. You got a car lot, you got to put it on, you got to go there every day. Like there's no other business that you can create as much wealth as you can in real estate. And when you shift from it, this is very much a relationship business. So don't hear this as you shouldn't be building relationships and getting referrals and building your business around that, because I do believe that is the foundation of what you're building. But how do you get into these conversations is not that complicated. It's about generating more opportunities and being consistent, calling the lead in the first 5 minutes, and text back and forth. It's just not that complicated.
So take us, because the next question kind of went with that, and you touched on it so well. You talk about the importance of relationship-based and referral-driven and traditional tactics. When you're learning things these days, the data-driven part of it, what has been y'all's experience with how it started scaling, right? Because some people have thought, and I love how Leo said it, like going from 15 houses to 100 is scary, right? So some people have that reservation about like, how am I actually going to scale this consistently? What if I do these things? What would you tell them around the data that you're looking at and the ability with scaling the marketing aspects on what's possible or what are the limits?
Yeah, I would say that, first of all, you are wildly inefficient on a daily basis as a real estate agent. So the amount of things we do that are not productive is unquantifiable. So what happened for me was I was getting so many leads, having so many conversations, I got to a point where, first of all, I didn't know what I was doing. So like there was no playbook, nobody was telling me what to do. I was just like, you know what? I don't like doing this. Somebody else should do it. And I hired an assistant, and then I hired a second assistant, and then I had a third assistant. Before I know it, I had 4 people. I did 233 transactions because I didn't like any of that stuff. And I wasn't any good at most of it anyway. And so I liked people. I like being with people. I like being out in the car. I would go show properties, and I would go on listing appointments. That's where I felt like I was the most productive. And so as I started delegating those things, that's how I built the team. It wasn't because I wanted to build a team. I was just too damn busy to not have some help. And so I think a lot of times when you look at what you're doing on a daily basis, if you're happy, don't be afraid. You're just going to be having more conversations, and you're going to delegate the non-productive activities. If it's $10 an hour work, and this is where we screw up, we think, because we get pretty good at some of this stuff, right? So we're like, well, Nobody can do this. I gotta do it. Yeah, that's not true. You can hire, because if you're good at something, then you can teach what you do. If you have a process, then it can be taught to someone else. And what you'll find is that I found that people were better at a lot of things, most things, than what I was good at. And so your transaction coordination, the paperwork, anything that you don't change the outcome, that's the qualifier. If you don't change the outcome, and it can be taught to someone else, and it's not more than $10, $15, $20 an hour work, if it comes off your plate, I'll give you an analogy. So my dentist, I have this dentist in law, his name, I can't remember his name. Anyway, not that bad. Dr. Bridges. So when you walk in, you go to the dentist's office and they've got like 2 little doorways, and then there's a bed, and then 2 little doorways, and a bed's in the middle. And it's like a shotgun hallway, but the ceiling, it didn't go all the way to the top, and he's real loud. So you can hear him, you're sitting there with the, thing around your neck and everything. I hate this, but so I'm sitting there waiting for him, and I can hear him. He's like, oh, hey, goes the kids, blah, blah, blah. And boom, next thing you know, his hands are in your mouth. And he's doing this, and he's on his way to mine. And I'm like, this dude don't do nothing but like little bit of niceties, and then boom, his hands are in your mouth. A dentist makes his money when his hands are in your mouth. He wasn't setting up the tools in the room. He wasn't calling to make sure everybody was going to show up. The dude was very efficient with what he does, made a lot of money. He had one of the biggest houses in town. So that is, for us in real estate, hands and mouth is when you're face to face with a client, when you're on the phone prospecting, when you're doing a deal, or negotiating a contract. That's hands and mouth. That's where you make the most money you're going to make. That's where $10,000 is on the line. And so that's what you want to start thinking. When you start thinking about scale, don't be afraid of it. Just know that make a list of the things you hate doing, and you're going to hire someone to do those. You'll love what you do more, and you're going to be more efficient because you're not going to be so busy that you're not going to call back somebody that wants to list the property. That's not going to happen. You'll be like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. I'll be there tomorrow. What time do you need? And so as you start having more conversations and building momentum, I went from 22 to 39 to 71 to 133 to 233 to 360 something to 400. It was like a damn rocket ship. I mean, it was nothing but growth. And the reason I was able to maintain that growth was because I was delegating the things, not knowing what I was doing about it. Like, I was not like in any way stretch of the imagination knew what the hell I was doing. But I was getting things off my plate. Looking back, I can say, oh, that was a pretty good idea. I didn't need to be doing those things, and other people could do it more efficiently.
Woo! What are you seeing in your marketing strategy that is evolved? Like, what is in your marketing strategy? How has that evolved from like a lot of the relationship stuff? Because you talked about like social media was an answer, right, to your prayer about how to be able to connect with more people. So you got a lot of people in the room who want to be social influencers, right? How is that? How did your marketing evolve over the years to what you're seeing works very efficiently for you today?
I mean, I just like Jay did. I figured out really quickly what my superpower was and what it wasn't. And my gift that God gave me was just to kiss babies and shake hands. Like, I figured that out early on, and I had to build a moat around me. Even today, I have a moat around people who help me with my operational excellence, marketing. Like, I'm really not that smart. I just know how to just delegate. That was the number one skill set that I developed early on, like Jay said. And even with marketing, I mean, I feel like it's always evolving, and I don't feel like I've 100% cracked the code. I'm actually hiring a new marketing team this week. We're interviewing because we have to put out so much content, and there's only so many hours in the day for me to be able to handle it myself. Some of you guys are doing all your marketing. My team has a very niche need of me because I'm the head recruiter for my team. I'm also the head community leader of my organization that's, almost 2,000 agents under Jay, thanks to his leadership. I'm also an influencer for, a thought leader, like Leo said, right? And, I have to have specific people who help me execute that particular, I would say, division of my brand. I'm launching a women's, Latina Only Women's Conference event that's happening. And, every single one of them has niche products and niche marketing strategies. So I now have to build another moat because I'm not marketing the same way I used to when I was selling 100 homes or, 500 homes, and I beat him. He sold 500. I beat him. What's the record?
Listen, she's the queen, okay? Listen, I flew to Orlando because she sold 2,187 homes in a year.
2,273.
That's like, I just gotta see what the hell this looks like. Like, you gotta be, I couldn't even get my head around it. But I followed her around for a day, now I get it. You wanna talk about efficient? She's the most efficient human being I've ever seen with her time. People around her at all times, capturing little things that are happening. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I parked the Jeep. She jumps out, going to a meeting. I'm like, this is fucking wow. Like, is it like this every day? And that's just like, she's very, very efficient with her time. She doesn't need to know what's going on in marketing. She's got somebody in charge of that. Like, that's happening every day, with or without her. There's someone in control of all of those things, delivering on the number of leads that need to be delivered, making sure agents are making contact, training them, making sure onboarding. Like, when Leo was talking about building a team earlier, it made me laugh because, like, most of us don't need a team. We start building a team out of ego. But, like, if you're not efficient with your time, how do you expect another human being to be efficient with their time? Right? And so it's just like, it's chaos. It's like you're inviting chaos into your world. And you have to get to the place where you control your time and are efficient with your time, and she's the best in the world. There's nothing like that I've ever seen.
He got to spend the day with me. He came out exhausted. He was like, what the heck? And I was like, did you like your role? I said, all I need to do is kiss baby, shake hands, and take pictures with them, okay? But it really is about building efficiencies, you know? And I want to talk on the marketing, but I don't want to come up here and say I'm some marketing genius. I just am really good at putting people in their place and knowing, like, hey, this is what I want to accomplish. My true other gift is seeing the vision and being able to say, who do we need to recruit to make this dream happen? Like, who needs to be on our team? Like, who has the skill set to help execute this? You know, I'm just wildly, like, ambitious. I'll go to, like, a company and say, yeah, I can sell 500 homes this year. Give me the contract. And then I gotta go now assemble the team, and I'll, you know, basically sell the vision that I've got the team, and I'm like, y'all ready? They're like, how good is this? We'll figure this out. Okay, don't worry about that. That's my superpower, but it's the confidence that comes along with it because I have assembled teams. I'll give you guys an example. The year that we sold 500, you know, we landed the iBuyer contract. I was in New York at a Zillow advisory board meeting, and I had to interview for that, even though everybody thought I had it. I had to interview. I had to compete against someone that was operationally excellent. I had to transform a building like this in less than 72 hours, actually 48 hours, and transform it into like this whole operation because I was pitching them that I had the best operationally excellent team. I built out like my ISA room, I built out the prospecting room, everything. Because we were scaled, we were downsizing, and we're like, unless we get this account, we ain't getting this big. We're not keeping this building. Then they called us, you got the interview, like, we're moving back into the building, let's build everything up. This is the marketing department. So like, I just believe in the vision, but I have an army of people who like, if this is gonna land us 500-600 listings, let's go. 500 listings that I thought would be in over 2 years ended up over 5,000 listings because I saw the vision and I could sell the vision to the people who I said, I'm gonna bring you along with me, and I just need you to master this skill set. So that's what I teach people, like, let's go find the team to help us execute this vision. That's what I do right now.
First of all, in real estate, there's not very many people that are gonna give you multiple deals in a year. Investors, new construction, and home builders, stuff like that. She goes after the whole Zillow account. So, like, that's incredible. I watched that happen, and unbelievable to assemble a team. But that's what she does. She goes after the big deals. At this level, you're playing a different game. You're going after bigger opportunities than just trying to assemble one deal here, one deal there. So it's amazing.
Kudos.
I can't do it.
That was awesome, man. Awesome. Hey, so keep us going, Jay. If you had to rebuild today from zero in a competitive market with today's tools, what would your first 90 days of marketing look like?
Yeah, you know, so when Leo answered this kind of earlier, like the repetition, like I've made so many calls. You could drop me into any marketplace, and my skills translate to I can make the calls here, and I can set appointments, and I'm going to go take listings. 100%. Part of me would just want to be like, if you want to do it and you gave me no budget, I'm going to hit expired, and I'm just going to crush that. Like, it's these people. Why would I do it? Because it's efficient. We know they want to sell. They were willing to pay a commission. That's all I needed to know. Like, I can start. Anything else I'm going to do is going to be inefficient compared to making those calls. So I would probably start there if I had no budget. If I had a budget, I would start with understanding the marketplace. And I've had the benefit of doing this now with agents all over the country, and every market is dynamically different in terms of who's moving right now. In this marketplace, in my market in Frisco, Texas, if you go into ChatGPT and you say, where is the sweet spot? I live in Frisco, Plano, McKinney, Little Elm, the Colony, Prosper, they're all 5 minutes away. The sweet spot, 750 new construction in Frisco. Like that is where there's the most search volume, that's where people are moving to. Well, why are they moving there? Okay, so it gives me two avatars. The avatar, this is what we do for you, by the way, as well. So like, this is the process, if you will. It's gonna tell me in this new market that I'm in, where the sweet spot is, where the most volume is, where there's actually homes you can sell, and there's a bunch of people looking for them. And so now we just need to understand, like, once you start, marketing is just understanding who is it that we're looking for, right? Like, it's not just a lead. Who are we actually looking for that's gonna actually pull the trigger and buy something? And so in my market, I kind of knew this, but I didn't really know this. They're leaving California, Washington, and Oregon. They're moving to Frisco. They got a tech job at Dr. Pepper, Keurig, or at Toyota World Headquarters, which this all made sense afterwards, but we have a shit ton of new, I said on the bumper sticker of every car, every third car in Frisco is a bumper sticker that says student driver. I didn't understand this at the time. That's all the people that are moving there that have never driven before, that they give them a bumper sticker that says student driver. I thought it was like, we have the most kids ever in any city. It's not, it's people that don't know how to drive. But anyways, but these people are leaving and they're getting tech jobs and they're coming to Frisco. That is one avatar. So what are the hopes, fears, concerns, desires of that person that's leaving California, Washington, Oregon, moving to Texas? And if you can tap into that, you can create content that's valuable, like a tuning fork to what it is they're trying to do. The other avatar is somebody who is leaving Carrollton or the Colony, which are two older communities south of me, to get their kids in Frisco schools. That made sense to me. I was like, that's why I'm in Frisco, so I can see how that would be the case. Well, those people have a home to sell, and they're moving up. Those are the people that are buying right now in that marketplace. Anyone else is maybe like, I might want to move if I find the right house. That's not who you're looking for. When we try to market to someone, let's identify the actual customer we're looking for. Now that I know who you are, now I know what I'm looking for, now I can create content that's relevant so that because the beautiful thing about a referral is they're pre-sold on doing business with you, so you don't even have to be very good. They just kind of have to like you. But if you're generating a lead, they don't know who you are. So when they fill out that form, if you get a hold of them while they're in real estate mode, you got a good chance of building a connection, building trust on the phone or via text. If you make contact with them, the next day they have amnesia. I didn't fill out nothing. What are you talking about? Right? Because they don't know who you are. They don't have any trust with you. You haven't built any trust. And so until you can get through that and make contact with someone, you can't build trust. Except with content, you can. And so in that follow-up sequence, if I know that you're going to get a hold of 30 people because I'm going to build the follow-up sequences to bubble up the conversations and automatically send a text because you're busy and you didn't have a chance to do it. All of those things are trying to get you to a contact rate. If you have 30 conversations, I know even not very good agents will sell 5 houses, or we'll get 5 appointments. Now, if you have 30 conversations and you only have, and you don't set any appointments, we're going to talk about what are you saying on the phone, because that could probably be improved. But I know that you had enough opportunities that we can now start getting to appointments. And so I just know the math behind what it takes to be successful. So I'm going to set the budget, I'm going to identify the target market, and then I'm going to have, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have AI create the videos because it can do it. It looks 85% as good as you doing it. But that content might be, hey, what are the top 3 things you should know before you ever put your kids in Frisco School District? Both of those avatars are likely going to click on that, and now they know who I am. So when the automated text comes out for me, when I do call them, they're more likely to respond favorably because now there's some trust that's been built. It's like, if we were talking about water noodles and you're like, yeah, man, we need to get some water noodles for the pool, and then you picked up your phone and there's an ad that shows you water noodles, that's freaky, right? Like, you're like, man, I know they're listening, right? But that's what this is like. When you create content that's like, they're like, oh my God, how did you know that's me, right? Now they remember that. That's building trust through content and marketing. And so it's not just about, let's go put some stuff on YouTube and wait for the algorithm guys to show it to people. It's about identifying who we're looking for first, then creating content that's relevant to exactly what their hopes, fears, concerns, desires are. When you think about marketing that way, it's way fun, right? Like that's because now you're getting into like, who do I want to work with? Is that even who I want to work with? And so you could be very specific about it. So I would go into the marketplace knowing that we have this tool in our phone now that we can ask it anything, and it's nuts. When you go ask it these questions around your marketplace, who's actually moving, what that avatar is, the list of things it tells you about the actual avatar is incredibly detailed. And so now it's not just a lead, you're looking for, out of the 100 leads, maybe only 30 of them total are that avatar. But you're speaking directly to those people, trying to build trust so that you can increase conversations. And I know if I get them on the phone, I'm gonna get an appointment. And so that's what I would do day one. If you can get me off the phones with expires, as soon as I'm done with my call session with expires, I'm building that thing right now.
Yeah, love that. Heather, if you had to rebuild today from zero in a competitive market with today's tools, what would your first 90 days look like?
I would listen to Jay. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was following Jay for many, many years before I could even like get into his world. I was like, take my money. And you know, he was like, I can't, girl. You know how he talks with his little like, you know, Latin Oklahoma accent. He's like, I can't, girl. I was like, take my money. I was like, I outperform the guy that, you know, has my region. Take my money, I'll pay more. And he was like, I can't. And then when obviously we had the opportunity to partner together, you know, everything changed. But to have the ability to learn from Jay, like I literally wanted to pay him $25,000 a year. Take my money. You have the ability to obviously learn from one of the legends. And it, you know, I don't want to come out here and try to tell you some other formula other than like the scalability that he's teaching you to be able to make a decision for your business with data and be also like get to choose your clients. Like that's pretty cool that you get to be, you know, rad and say like, I want to work with first time home buyers, or I want to work with relocation clients, or I want to work with sellers. And you are able to master that skill set with obviously the right team that can help you support and build the systems out. And you don't have to be the guru that knows it all. You don't have to. All you have to do is be able to be coachable and learn and implement. Carve out the time. Like he says I'm a knucklehead because I am in certain areas. But like really, you don't have to go out there and try to, you know, figure this out alone. So the first thing I would say is listen to Jay, because I tried to pay him a lot of money. Now we make a lot of money together. The other thing I would do is, you know, I was talking to Alessandra the other day when we were talking, right? She's a beast on the phone. She's crushing it with expires, right? And I like the skill set that she's mastering is exactly what you would say. Like it's predictable business. She's gone on 32 listing appointments just this year, if I'm not mistaken. She's closed 20 plus listings just alone from expires, pounding the phones, right? And not everybody has that skill set. It takes a special type of person, right? But something that, and oftentimes it can get a little, you can get a little burnt out. I'm not gonna lie though. You gotta be a special human being to love that shit, okay? But if you wanna be broke, don't do it. But if you wanna make money, do it, and then eventually you can start deciding what other things you wanna do. So, you know, it's predictable, like he said, like right now for me, I'm having more conversations with agents who are telling me, I've never done a short sale. Do you know how much money I made in the short sale market? If you have not learned how to, first of all, master expireds, understand list pendants, understand how to have a conversation with the seller who has to sell because they're in default. Like that's a skill set right now. I'm like, oh my God, we are about to just serve so many people. And so many people don't understand that skill set. You guys didn't have to do that over the last 6-7 years. But those of us who are kind of like OG aging ourselves, like 2008, like it was a ghost town. That's all we had to do. That's, you know, it was not fun, but there's this community right now that you can search. So those expired listings are gonna have a lot more pre-foreclosure conversations. You need to master that skill set if you are gonna go into listings. And you need to if you're gonna be a great listing agent. So something else that Jay alluded to that I really want to say is like, I made a decision that I was going to be a listing guru. Like that was my number one focus. If I control the listing inventory, I win the game. And if you can figure out how to do that in your market, maybe you don't follow his formula, but you should. It's how can you obtain more listing opportunities? That is the key. Okay, and I know, listen, I'm also the people, how many of you guys are, you know, love working with buyers? Okay, we say that because we love people, but have you mastered the art and the skill set of listings? Once you master that, you're like, I really love working with sellers. Like you can run a calculated business. Now, it doesn't mean you're not gonna work with buyers. We love buyers, buyers are great. But what I would do is I would layer my business, master listings, while also I'm building my business through buyers. But how can I scale with buyers right now? I was telling Sandra, like waiting for referrals, like you said, that's a hope. That's a wish. That's real estate gods, please come down and bless me. And I'm dependent on my neighbor, my friend, or someone else to refer me. That's not a scalable business. But when I see my dear friends who are cracking the code on, what they're doing, 4 or 5 videos, not a week, but like 3 to 5 times a week. They're visiting new construction homes and like niching down on becoming that buyer relocation. But the content that they are putting out is specific to relocation buyers, like he said. And my girl Olivia Petro, you guys should follow her on Sunshine Group. This girl committed to doing 1,000 videos 2 years ago. 1,000 videos. She gets about probably 20,000 to 1 million views on each video. And her thing was multi-generational homes, families, because they're all over in Orlando. So she's like, all she does is visit new construction. She's become the new construction specialist. But while she's trying to master her listing it, Alexis Diaz, good friend of ours, girl from a great community, one of our partners, she's going all in on YouTube, right? And every single week she does her YouTube videos, specifically on new construction. She says, I know the kind of avatar I want to work with when it comes to buyers. And it helps at the listing appointment saying, how many eyeballs do you have when you list with me? You don't just get, obviously, my office or the local agents, you also get my relocation buyers that are coming. So like, just again, mastering the skill set of listings, but also controlling the algorithm. I think Jay just nailed it and gave you the formula. Make a decision to run a real business that you actually can measure, and you're not just hoping and praying. So that's just my recommendation.
Love that. Well, to keep us going there, let's jump into some team building and leadership scaling. When you first started building a team, what mistake did you make that cost you time, money, and energy? How would you avoid that now?
I hired people because they had blood running through their veins and I had desperation and I like them. Versus hiring them for their skill set. Of course, character matters, but at the beginning it was sloppy. It was like, bro, I need to do a catch for keys. You're in Miami. I scaled to Miami. Who do you know? I got a bum friend who could take a picture on a digital camera. I was like, perfect. That'll work for now. But there was no real, real strategy in hiring talent. I made a lot of mistakes with hiring talent because it wasn't necessarily the fact that I could bring them on and get them to a certain skill set. I wasn't a disciplined enough leader to remove them from the operation quick enough when they weren't efficient. So those were one of the leadership lessons that I learned early on. Just hiring the wrong people, hiring because you just like someone. But then I figured it out. I was like, okay, this was one of the #1 costly mistakes that I made. And now, of course, with social media, with AI and ChatGPT and not just ChatGPT, anything, you have a thought leader next to you where you can make decisions. I'm a lot more methodical now when I hire talent. I specifically want to make sure that they have the skill set, and of course that they're a character match. But I would say the #1 mistake that I made was hiring the wrong people and not getting rid of, freeing their future up soon enough. Freeing their future up soon enough because it was a disservice to me. And I would say with teams, another costly mistake that I made with teams that I still think I'm paying the price is I feel like we didn't get on YouTube or some other type of scalable video approach soon enough. But that shall be fixed. We're fixing that. That's another area where I would say we made a boo-boo.
That was awesome. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so no business hiring people whatsoever. So if how many of you kind of want to build a team, but you're like, man, I suck at hiring people and that part of it, and you just kind of want to not do it because of that. Yeah, everything that you're trying to do in your life is it's all about who you have to become, right? And so I sucked at hiring. I hired the wrong people, same thing. Hired friends, anybody that I had a pulse, like every time I did it, and that shit ended up back on my plate eventually, I was like, well, this sucks. I didn't know this is. And then you keep them too long, and that's more painful. And then it's like, okay, I gotta let them go. Now I'm back doing that job again. I've got to figure this out, right? You get to a place where you're like, okay, there's got to be a better way. And then you learn how to identify, well, what are the roles and responsibilities? What does winning look like for this actual position? What are the skills they need to have in order to do this well? And you're going to make the mistake of hiring the person that's most like you, which is probably not the person that you should hire. 99.9% of the time, it's the person that does the things you don't do well, and so you're trying to replace your weaknesses. Don't just hire the person, you know, look, they said everything I like hearing. No, that's probably the wrong person. You have to hire to the position and understand that before you hire. It's like, talking about teams, Leo was saying this earlier, it's like, if you're gonna start a team, almost, because I coach thousands of teams. I've looked under the hoods of some of the top teams, almost all of them in the country. But most people start the team too soon. They start hiring agents without an onboarding process, without scalable processes or systems or accountability or training. You don't even realize how many hats now you get to wear all of these hats on top of the things you're doing in production, and it pulls you out of what you're doing that's the highest dollar productive activities, going on appointments, doing deals. You're now giving them to these agents, and you have all of these jobs, and they're going to get half the money, but you end up losing money going the team route because you really should have been getting more of the $10 an hour work off your plate before you ever brought on agents. And it's a lot. But if you don't have an onboarding process, a hiring process, core values established of who's the right fit, have agreements, not expectations on what is actually required before they start day one, then it's too soon. And most of us are, and this is not a bad thing, I think this is part of the lessons you learn in life. It's like we all did it, none of us did it right. Just so you know, none of us did it right. We all did it wrong. And we can tell you how not to do it, but you're probably going to do it wrong. And so just know you're going to run into that wall, and then just pick yourself up and be like, okay, what did I learn here? And what am I never doing again? And you'll know the core value things is probably the most important, and it's the hardest to get people to buy into. But if you've ever had the hair on your neck stand up when somebody does something, that's somebody that probably doesn't align with you from a core value standpoint, and you would do anything in the world to never have to work with someone like that. Until you end up with someone like that on your team, you're not going to understand core values. But that's, it's part of it's all a process, man. Enjoy the journey of learning and growing and making these mistakes along the way, and you'll figure it out.
I want to add something to that. Jay said he's had the opportunity to look under the hood of a lot of teams, and as well as myself, ego is real. And Leo said it earlier, you just mentioned it, guys, you gotta take care of yourself and your family first. This idea of starting a team because it seems like it's just a cool thing to do, I can't tell you the amount of team leaders who cry on my shoulder because they're worried about someone else's family because they overcommitted to starting a team, and they have this perception and this illusion that they're, failing these families, but they're not paying their bills. Burn it down. And don't do it like he said. If you're not ready, take care of you first, your family first. There is no prize in starting a team. Most team leaders are not as profitable as they boast. Okay, there's a good group of the 1%ers. Okay, but it is, again, you gotta either have a leadership book. I ask people, how soon before this team puts you out of business? That's one of the questions I ask people when they come to me, because they want. And by the way, I charge a lot of money to coach, and I don't take on just anybody, because the conversations we have a lot of times go over people, they don't have systems in place, processes, and they tell me, I was like Leo, so you have a country club, energy. Think about the energy that people will drain from you, and that will drain your soul, because you are trying to force someone to be into production. You're trying to force someone to want to go out there and do the work, pound the phones, and you can't force people to do anything, but you can control you. And I just want to give you guys, like he said, think about the things we've done wrong. I don't want to see anybody go bankrupt because they thought they were going to start a team because it was cool. I've had more people say to me, I invested so much in the team and I'm back to zero. Why did you start a team in the first place? Like, and like Leo said, he said, like, you gotta have so much overflowing in that cup of lead flow. Like, I don't have a lead generation problem. I don't have enough agent problem. That's why I have a team. That's why I keep a roster of 60 plus agents. But I also have a recruiting machine around it because I know agents leave. Agents leave. So the other mistake I had was that I was hostage to agents that saying one day, like, oh, we're gonna leave the team. They're, because they all rallied together, like, we're gonna start our own team. I had 13 agents walk out the door. And I was like, we got a recruiting machine around the needs of the team, because in the event an agent leaves, a reality, agents do leave you eventually, and that's a good thing. They let them graduate. They should be able to. You should build them up to eventually get good enough to start their own if they're ready, right? Or be an independent solo agent. I had to walk out once, and we went down from 50 agents to 29 agents, because then you get the residue of people that I'm gonna be the last one standing, so I'm leaving too. That happens. And what happened? My team was like, the team's imploding. And I said, don't worry about it. We got a recruiting strategy. So team leaders, if you don't have a true recruiting strategy, you are a hostage. That's where the agents will then turn and say, we will revolt. And I'm like, I got a program for that, bro. I got a constant machine running on recruiting. And agents like, well, we got new people. I was like, this is one agent legal. And when you do, I'm gonna celebrate you. And then I'm gonna develop this agent, and I'm gonna develop this agent, and we're a development agency of agents and talent and future leaders on our team. And I have coached hundreds and thousands of agents that have come through my ecosystem. But as team leaders, some people can't wrap their head around that. Like, agents are my listing appointments now. They are my partners, and I have to make sure I have a process in place to develop those agents and know when they grow up, I have to continue to, groom other agents. But this is a real team leader conversation. Like, do not do this just to be the cool kids, because this is a true, this will rob you of your peace and your soul if you do not have a process in place. And I had to learn that the hard way. And today I can stand here with confidence and say, once you get on the other side, if you truly are gifted to be a team leader, it is a privilege, it is an honor, but it is a business.
Yeah. So Leo was so dead on earlier when he said this, and Veronica just echoed it. I'm going to say it again because you probably need to hear it one more time. You don't need it if you don't have an overflow of deals that, I remember driving around and having little message pad messages from people that had called wanting to list their properties that I hadn't called in a week because I was so damn busy. And I was like, so I got more deal. I'm losing money because I've got more business than I can handle. That's when you need a team. You don't need a team to get on the transaction treadmill and just add more numbers to the number of deals you did this year, because you can't take that to the bank. That's not what matters. What matters is net profit. And so, and going back to what Veronica said earlier, you will have to make the shift from the buy side to the list side of the business if you want to be the most efficient. At my peak, I was doing 5 listing appointments a day, and I had time blocks for those 5 spots. I had impact zone meetings in the company in the mornings when my brain could be mush and you could turn me on in front of a seller, and I could do it every time. And so I did the appointments in the afternoon. That was it. I was only doing listing appointments. You know what? Buyers took care of itself. So if I got a listing, listings have babies. You get a listing, sometimes it sells, you get another listing down the street. You get a listing, you get a buyer that calls in, now you got a buyer that you sold. But if you focus solely on getting listings, if your business expands, it expands your brand. Every time somebody sees that sign in the yard, they drive by it on the way to work, they drive by it on the way home. If they come home for lunch, they see it 2 more times. You are getting brand recognition in the marketplace that compounds it on itself. And so while buyers are the easy, lowest cost, easiest thing to get, it really is. I can generate you a deal for $150, almost guaranteed. And probably can do it as many times as you want to do it. What you're going to run out of is time. And so where there's leverage is I got to a place, I didn't think this was delegatable. I didn't think I could delegate. I was literally at an event. I can't remember what event it was, and these guys were all selling more houses than me, and I was like, man, I don't know how y'all do this. I got a closing every damn day. I got to go to a closing every day. They're like, we go to the closings? I was like, what the hell do you mean you don't go to the closings? And they explained to me their process, and I was like, holy shit, they don't go to the closings. It blew my mind. Totally blew my mind. I was like, there's no way I'm not going to the closing. I went back, implemented what they did. It worked just fine. People were happy. We went over it ahead of time. I didn't have to go spend an hour waiting for the dang documents to get signed and all that. And I was like, they're still happy. I can't even believe it. And so there's a process for it. Same thing happened on the listing. At 200 listings, there's an offer coming in every day. every weekend, every night, every day. And I was like, well, I gotta present them all. I gotta do that. That's my, I have a listing coordinator that is a certified negotiation expert on my staff that is responsible for presenting the offer. So when an offer comes in, Carla's gonna call you, she's gonna go over that. They will tell her things this is true. They would never tell me as an agent, they would never tell me. They'll tell her everything, and so she's like a mole, and she can get deals done that I couldn't do. And so, but I positioned it that way, and guess who got his life back, right? And so the things that, if you really start to get down to what is the most dollar productive activity, you can be extremely productive. But I'm going in there, I went and visited Gene Shine, by the way. Modeling what other people have done to be successful, it's the hack, y'all. Like, this is how we've all done it, is we find people like Veronica, be like, how the hell is she doing it? You go follow them around. I went to Gene Shine. She was the #1 agent at Coldwell Banker for years. Never could beat her. My mentor was Brian Moses, #2 agent in the world for Coldwell Banker when I met him. And I never could get past Gene Shine, neither could he. And so I said, I'm gonna go see Gene Shine. So I go spend the day with her. She would go on a listing appointment for 15 minutes. They would come back to her office on a second appointment, and then somebody on her staff, it was a family member, I think is who it was, but he would do all the paperwork and the pricing and everything and take the listing. 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here. That was the most efficient I'd ever seen anyone on taking listings. And I adopted that into my own business. It allowed me to be more productive, go on more appointments, and actually win the listing. None of those things outwork my ideas. All of these little things that we learned along the way are because once you see someone doing it and operating that way, you're like, that's what it looks like. Okay, it can be done. But if you leave it up to yourself, you're gonna be like, there's no way you can do that, right? And so it really is about the people you surround yourself with and being a good student and realizing that we don't know shit about shit, basically.
I would ask one last thing to that, because I get greedy about teams, because like that's my love language. But like another thing with teams that I love what you just shared, right? The idea of like you got to see someone else do it, right? You got to see. One of the things was like I thought I was the only one that could do it better than anyone else, right? So even when I have team leaders, I'll say, but what if they want you, Veronica? They want me, right? Because I'm the team leader, they want me. That is, if you do have a team and you are generating, enough business and you are now in leadership, like I haven't been on a listing appointment I hate to admit, the listing appointments I go on are, executive accounts or bigger accounts, but like my agents my job is to make them so skilled on the phones and better that they don't even want to talk to me. They want to talk to them. So if you could develop that skill set, because I have a lot of team members say, but what happens if they call and they only want to talk to me? I was like, make your team members better. Like they're gonna be better than you were ever on the phones. Like it's really funny how like my sellers now, past clients and referrals of people, this is the conversation. Hey V, we want to send you a referral. Pair us with your best agent. Who are we working with? We trust you. We know you have a great team. The other said, Beto, we know it won't be you, but we know that you have amazing agents. Who can you connect us with because we want to sell our house? Man, that is the best feeling ever, where your clients actually like know your brand, that your brand is associated with talent that will serve them, and you're just the connector. And the lead kind of like, I'm still here if anything happens, I can pop in, I'm like the dentist, I just want, like, where do I need to love on you? But they're like, hey, who are you connecting with me with? Because you're the trust source. And through you, I get the outcome that I want, but it's the agents that you've collected that I know are gonna take really good rate. Like that's the best feeling ever. And that's my North Star, is to build a business that my agents are better than me, and I'm just the connector. I just like, oh my God, I'm putting you with so much, so they're amazing. They're like, we love her. They'll call me, they're like, thank you so much, she was amazing. And then they start getting repeat business from that, and my agents are like, you're amazing. So that's just, again, something I want you guys to understand as a team, how we've evolved, how I've gotten to the point. I still run a team, and we're still gonna sell 600-700 homes next year. But it's through developing talent and also creating a brand that your clients also recognize your skill set as a leader.
Woo! Yeah. We got friends in the room today. Agents, you and Jay share with us. Agents who want to build a team, but they're kind of like in that 20 to 30 transactions a year. What needs to be in place before they even think about making that first hire?
Yeah, let's track what you're doing. If you're doing 30 transactions and you want to build a team, let me follow you around for a day and we're going to talk about being efficient. Because you're not that busy. It's just you're not. And if you are, there's things that need to come off your plate that you can pay someone $15 an hour to do, and you can do that for a lot more deals, a lot more transactions that you can do efficiently before you should start buying. Because the mistake you're going to make is if you go, you need to hire staff. You need to get things off your plate. Number one, delegate. But if you hire agents, you don't realize it, but you are gonna be spending more time trying, because you didn't have training for that agent. You don't have an onboarding process. Every question that they have, and you're out there doing deals, trying to do deals, so you're not there to manage them on a daily basis, and they're feeling lost. You're gonna burn the midnight oil trying to help that person. It's not time for you to hire an agent. It's just not. It's very inefficient to do it that way. You'll end up making less money. I had a call with somebody the other day that the same exact scenario. She made I think she made $100,000 less when she went independent and started a brokerage. Didn't really even have a reason why. She left the company she was at. She said, I figured I'll just open a brokerage. Oh, I figured I might as well get some agents since I have my own brokerage now. She didn't have a vision for that, but then she did it. And then she's like, I've been trying to help them, and she actually did the math for me on it. She's like, yeah, I made $115,000 less than I did the year before. And I was like, let's fix that. Like that was not your intent, right? She was trying to build a business. And so I think you do the right things in the right order, and I think your productivity can be higher before you need to be at that place where you're busting at the seams with business before you start building a team, not just because you want a team. And I think that's it's the entrepreneur, you might want to do it, but it's going to cost you in the long run. You don't have the systems and processes in place yet. You don't have the scalable lead generation in place. How you've got your business doesn't duplicate. And then, what do you do with that agent on a daily basis to make sure they're fully trained? Like, are they fully trained or are they partially trained? If you're disarming a bomb, would you want to be in the room with them? Probably not. So you've got somebody out there floundering. You're not really doing them a service, and it's taking up more of your time than it's worth. That's genuinely what I see the most mistakes happen in team building. It should be staff first before you go to agents you're going to be building out deals to.
Yeah, I echo everything Jay just said, and I for the solo agents in the room, I want to speak to you too. Like, you guys actually have a team, like, as well. Like, I don't want you to think we're just talking to team leaders. And what we're really just saying is find leverage. You have to leverage yourself, but be careful how you start going out there and thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna get my buyers away to buyers agents, when maybe you should just hire a Shawami. Maybe you just use a showing assistant service to give you a little bit more time back, right? Or again, maybe it's that first admin hire, right? And master the skill set of having a VA. I have about 8 VAs that work on my team because my leadership team needs additional support as well. But you can apply these principles in your business. If you're shooting content, who's your videographer team? Have you looked at your expenses? Have you looked at what it's costing you to hire that team? But you should have it. If you're a solo agent, I need you to wrap your head around that you are also leading the team, but a team to help you be more efficient. That, whether it's your inspectors, your videographer team, your showing assistant platform, like I said, I gave you a little nugget there, Showami, which I think EXPs eventually going to roll out their own, where you just scale your time. On my team, we have agents who they basically say, hey, who's in this area? Like, I need a showing assistant for $30 a door. I see them doing it within the team to scale because there's only enough time in the day. But really, like Jay said, don't do it too soon. Be careful and really analyze where you're at most inefficient and where you can buy back time. That's really what we're trying to do here, is buy back time so we can do the things that really matter, which is you should be negotiating contracts, having more conversations. Conversations lead to closings. That's really what you should be doing.
Love that. Thank you, guys. Hey, so we've got a few more minutes with Jay and Vero. You guys have heard some really powerful things around both marketing and team growth. We want to open it up for a few minutes to have some questions from you guys. And we saw JJ's hand go up immediately. JJ, hit us, man. What you got?
So I was happy to hear a conversation that Jay had with some executives. Jay, talk about Murphy.
Murphy? Yeah. So the theory, has anybody ever read the book called The Goal by Elliot Goldratt? There's actually another book out by Chip and Dan Heath called Reset, where they talk about the theory of constraints. And the theory of constraints is understanding throughput, meaning like if I generated 1,000 leads for you today, there would be a bottleneck, and that bottleneck would be at how do I get a hold of 1,000 people, right? And so at any point in your business, there's always a constraint that pops up, and they gave this example in the book. This is fun. The funny story about this book was I had 3 of my highest paid mentors that told me to, so I had this book, and 3 of my best mentors over a span of a decade that told me to read it. And it was called The Goal, and so I was like, I already got lots of those, don't need to read this book. Don't know why I thought that, but for whatever reason I thought I'd do with it. And it was thick, and it was in fine print, and there's no pictures in this book. So I'm like, I just didn't feel like tackling this one. Never read the book, and then as we built out the coaching company, another one of my mentors was like, you haven't read The Goal? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read the book. So I read the book, and it's about the theory of constraints and just understanding that at any point, the minute we remove your bottleneck of I don't have enough leads, your new bottleneck is gonna be how do I get in contact with all these people? And then as soon as you fix that bottleneck, a new bottleneck is gonna emerge somewhere else. And it's a manufacturing story in the book, and they're talking about this manufacturing company, they make all these sales, and then they have to build this thing, and then they gotta send it to paint, and then they gotta do this, they get to deliver, and the company's not making money, and they've got all these bottlenecks at stations, wait stations, where things would bottleneck because this job was getting done too fast, this one couldn't keep up. And they told this little analogy of Herbie, and I refer to Herbie often because Herbie is a real person in my life, I feel like. But there's this Boy Scout troop that is trying to get to camp to set up tents before dark, and they've got this whole troop of kids that are going, and Herbie is the big fat kid that's one that's if you put him in the front, he slows everybody down. They have to keep a certain pace with all these kids to get there by this time, and Herbie's in the front, he's slowing everybody down. So they put him in the back, he lags behind. They put him in the middle, the group gets separated. Herbie's a problem. And so they said, well, how are we going to get these kids here before dark so we can get this camp set up? And they said, well, they tried all those things, none of that worked. And so they started taking books out of his book bag and spreading it out amongst the team. And then finally he could keep up, and they got there and they were able to get their tent set up. And so Herbie is the bottleneck. And so when at any point, especially as you're running a team, is and this is where AI is becoming super valuable. Especially, I can generate you more leads than you can get to. But this is what happens when we turn on Funnel Pilot for people. About 30 to 60 days in, they're so damn busy. They're like, I need to turn it off because I can't keep up with the leads. We created a Herbie for them. The Herbie is, I got so many people that I'm not able to keep up with the new ones that are coming in, so they instantly want to turn it off. And I'm always like, you can turn it down, you can always turn it up, but don't turn it off. Because if you shut off the oxygen to the room, then now you got nothing coming in the pipe in the beginning, and you're going to be in 90 days, you're going to look up and be like, why is there no sales this month? It's going to be because Herbie's ass is right back in the front again, where he was when we started this whole thing. And so it's understanding the theory of constraints is a super important thing when you think about your business as you're growing it. But you want to be able to maximize and optimize every possible thing, and then realize where's the next bottleneck going to be if I do that. And it'll be at, man, I got 8 deals under contract set to close, and I'm doing all the TC work, and now I didn't do any of the stuff I was doing before that was driving the business. And so just know that you want to think of your business holistically, and if you solve one bottleneck, what's the next problem that you're going to incur? Forward thinking, and I'm going to have to get this off my next because it'll be the next problem. Hopefully that will make a little bit of sense. Yeah, that's great. We appreciate that.
So we don't need to read the book?
Yeah, I mean, the book's really very entertaining. It was a great book, actually. I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, it's a great book. Pedro, you had a question you want to shoot for us?
I do. That I'm so grateful that you're in my life. We have great conversations all the time. And a lot of times we go deep, and that is something that a lot of people really need to value, right? I mean, business is great. We all know, we have you guys and a lot of great leaders, but a lot of times you really have to peel back the onion and really get down to what is internally. So my question to you guys is, what internal work became non-negotiable as your responsibility and influence started to take off?
Oh man, I knew you would do something like that. I was waiting for like a moment where we get a little vulnerable up in here. We talked a lot earlier about like Jay and I, what we've accomplished, but I will tell you, none of that means anything. If you lose your soul along the way, if you don't know why you're doing it, Leo's such a great example of leadership. And he talked about that, right? Family and the people that we get to impact, our children. When I reached, I was telling Jay on the walk in, right? When I went 2 years sober, and I told him it was scary what I accomplished that year. That was the year that we became #1 in the world, and the next year we became #1 in the world again. And I remember I was kind of lost. And I see this is what this, and I think Leo said earlier, like the community that we have here is pretty special. And he says, he doesn't use the word family lightly, but to me, I can say that I have a chosen family in this company that have really taught me a lot. And it wasn't how to sell more homes. It was how to become a better human being. And I remember talking to Brent Gove, we went to dinner, and I was going on a 3-week vacation with my husband to Italy. The first time we had ever been away for that long, and I was like, oh, I made it, like got a little money in the bank, and I can scale. And I was terrified to go on vacation with my husband because I'd never spent 3 weeks alone with him and present and away from my business to where I could actually be in present life. And Kathy and Brent Gove, I remember Kathy said, why are you so scared? And I was like, all I know how to do is just be in survival mode and work. And I have been avoiding the reality of my life. I don't know why I'm doing this, and I feel empty. And I remember that week I was really, really I was in a dark place. Like top of the mountain, recognition, everything I dreamt of, but I felt really dark. And I can say this because we've had long conversations about why we do this. And I remember I had an opportunity, and you might remember, I was the center of an industry attention war. And I was like, God, I'm just Veronica. Why am I Glenn's calling me? He was this. I'm in the middle of some negotiation wars. This is really above my pay grade. At least that's what I thought. And I was like, God, what do you want? Can you help me really understand what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I need to make the right decision for this. What if I blow it all up? I need to make the right decision. Help me make the right decision. And I'll never forget. I said, I need the answer. And that week, the only thing, I was by myself, I remember, because I needed a little bit of alone time. And the only message I kept on receiving was, I am the answer. And that was my moment when I decided to walk my faith with God and understand that what I was doing was so empty, it was so surface level. That moment changed everything for me. I remember I called Brent Gove, I sent him a video, and I said, Brent, thank you for your time and just praying over me and just talking to me about what really matters. And I sent him that video, and Brent was in his car with his daughters and Kathy in California, and even the Uber driver started crying when they listened to the video. But it was one of those moments where I had to just recognize why I was doing this, and it was a little soulless. And I remember in negotiations, I said, it was the first moment I finally gave myself permission to make a decision that was in line with who I am. I put everything on pause. I said, I'm not making a decision. I'm going to pray on this. I'm going to do what's best for my family. I'm going to really assess my core values. And I started really defining what that was. And it changed everything in my life. I'm happier. My faith first, navigating through some things with my family. But the business is easy for me. Now the conversations are just different because I know who I am and why I'm here. And I think that's why you and I connect so much. This man is on a journey to really make sure he leads, with his heart, and his faith, and his family. And even Jay, we're talking today. Jay's 3-4 months sober? 4 months sober? We were just naturally high operators, high achievers. What we've been able to accomplish, even in our reckless era, we're not proud of certain things, but I'm imagine what you did to the point where you can have conversations what's our next level? How's your family? I'll ask them, how's Amber? How are your kids? How's Riggs? Little badass Riggs. We connect on a deeper level, and that's what I'm excited excited about like the people I sit at the table who push each other to be better in life, in their mental health, in their faith. Everything else is easy. Like, everything else, like the business, piece of cake. It's why we believe this, at least for me.
When you asked the question, the first thing that came to mind from a business leadership perspective was, I always crash into the wall. That's where I learned the lesson. It's like, oh, that hurt. Let me see what I can learn here. And I'll never forget. It was in 2007, worst year you could ever have had this happen. But at the time, I've got 28 rental properties, not writing checks to them. My business is going down fast. My number one right-hand guy, John Kitchens, my top 3 buyers agents, and 2 of my staff left to open another company together with my builder developer, who I had developments, new construction, and flips with. And I'm writing checks to a coaching company that me and Mike had started at that time. It could not have been worse or a worse time for that to happen. And the bitterness that you have in that moment is, how could you? That's the first thing you think is, how could you? They were doing it right under my nose. And I don't know where the question came from. Somewhere along the way, I picked this up. And when you ask this question in those moments, it is always the right question. What could I have done differently? And when you ask that question, it's amazing how clear it is on what you could have been doing better. And so those are moments. I've had a couple of times where, that when I had that feeling of like, how could you do this after I've done all this for you? When you start thinking that way and you stop and say, what could I have done differently? That's where the lesson is what could I have done differently? And as a leader, you realize, man, I wasn't connecting them to the vision of what I was doing in Dallas with the coaching company. I could have had my one-on-ones. I didn't know what his goals were. Where could I have been a better leader? And so I've had a couple of experiences like that where the leader in me had to level up. And so for me, it's always understanding that there's always something in your control that you could have done differently. That nothing is ever happening to you. You're always in control of how you react to a situation, and look at that and reflect on where you could be better, even if it wouldn't have changed the outcome. It's an opportunity for you to learn and grow. And that's served me extremely well, because I'm not perfect. Like you have blind spots, you have weak spots. You get comfortable and you stop doing things you know you should be doing. And in those moments, I think that's a really valuable question. Woo! Okay with time? We got one more? Yeah.
All right, we got one more question. Who's going to be the lucky person? All right, maybe 2. Jane, go ahead. Inez, we'll come to you next. Go ahead, Jane.
Okay. I have realized throughout my career in management and being in the military and now in real estate, I've learned that I'm wired a little differently than a lot of people. In the sense that, and I've also learned in that same note, I used to think that going 100 miles an hour had to look the way I went 100 miles an hour. I had to learn that people's threshold is different. 100 miles an hour to me might be showing 30 homes in one day, and someone's threshold might be 3 in one day. On that note, in trying to elevate people around you and in your team and in your, just in your surroundings, trying to be that person that's like, hey, come on, you can do it. At what point do you tell yourself, you've done enough, let them go, and move on to someone? At what point do you say that? Because a lot of times you feel like this very next speech is gonna do it. If you just say it like this, it's gonna click, and it doesn't. So at what point do you just say, hey, you've done what you could with this person? You could be utilizing all that energy into 5 other people that you can get to immediately, but this person is exhausted?
Yeah, so you asked the right question for me to answer. So I had one of my mentors, Clay Mask. They had a company called Infusionsoft, and they built it to $1 billion, and we got to kind of visit them 3 times a year while they're scaling this company. And one of the things he said in one of our mastermind meetings, he said, "B players are the people you spend time with instead of your family." And man, that hit me like a ton of bricks. Because those people that I would stay late poured into, like, come on, man, this time they're going to get it. What he was saying is that the only time that you're able to people is in the moment you're leading them, and then they don't go anywhere from it until you come back to them again and lead them some more. The people you're looking for in the world that's a core value fit for who you are the people that you lead them to here and you come back to them and they read another book and did something else and now they're here and they got a new problem, and that's the type of, that's an A player. And so, B players are, you believe in them more than they believe in themselves. They're not willing to do, they're not like us. They're just not. And I think to me, you already know the answer. You gotta free up their future. They're not a good fit for your environment, and I'm telling you, it's costing you time with family. It's costing you time with others. But it starts with having agreements, not expectations, on the front end. And so it's either you're trying to get them to do things that you know is better for them for your reasons or their reasons, doesn't matter. They're still not doing the work. But was there ever an agreement as to what are the things that are going to be expected? And you both agree to that. This works at home too, with your spouse. But like, what is the agree? It's not an expectation. I don't expect you to do this. We have agreed that this is what we're going to do here. And if you have those agreements in place, now we can talk about what happens when you don't live up to the agreements we have. And now they'll self-depart because they're not willing to do what's necessary. But I think part of it is having that agreement up front instead of just like, dude, come on, man. Like, you have an expectation because you do it. You're like, why aren't you doing what I do? Like, I told you to do it. You see the results. She's doing it and she's getting the results. Why aren't you hearing me? Why is this not clicking? But I think part of it's having the agreement. And then I think you have to have a clear understanding of when you're going to let those people go. Yeah.
I mean, I used to struggle with that because I love people. And I don't know, I'm assuming you run a team? Yeah. So the same way I don't hire, I also am not the one that onboards and offboards. So I actually have an entire process. We have a 0 to 90-day process, and we're managing the standards, not the person. So when they show up and we look at their book of business, and either you did the activities or you didn't, you take your emotions out of it because now the process and the standard. And you can have those conversations where I can say, hey, Jay, listen, like, I'm tied to your goals. We really want to help you. You've said that you want to accomplish all things. Your activities don't match what you said and also the standards that we have on the team. Next week, we're going to come back and this is what we're going to tackle. Either you did or you didn't. And if you didn't, then we're just going to agree what offboarding is going to look like. Like, I've had to mature into that conversation of my team leaders and my coaches, and now it's not emotional. And if we see that someone maybe went through something, maybe personal, whatever, we put them on a PIP, personal improvement plan, and just say, hey, listen, because they're like, well, I don't want to go, I really, okay, like, what's that going to look like? And a lot of times we just help them self-discover. And Chuck Black taught me that, like, look, at the end of the day, your average is everyone else's excellence. You're wired differently. We get that. We're the 1%ers. But like he said, A players don't want to be around B players. And what you allow on your team really is what your team standard is. So anything that you will allow below the normal standard, that's your new standard. So just if you can get to a point where you just manage this standard, the conversations aren't difficult when you could just say, Jay's had these conversations. Hey girl, either you did it or you don't. And like, when you're ready to get it done, call me. And I'm like, I can take that conversation because A players want accountability. A players want to be held accountable. They want to be pushed to the next level. And if you're babysitting a bunch of B players, you got to have a self-reflection. Why are you allowing that? And what's the fear in the way? Because is it because you don't have enough agents? Is it because you just don't want to look like people don't, you don't have good retention? And just have that conversation. It is the best feeling in the world that I literally sit with my COO and she's like, okay, we onboarded X amount of agents. We offboarded this amount. Last year, we offboarded 90 agents from our team. that were non-productive, non-producing. The producers all stayed. A players all stayed. It was the ones, and we let 90 go because they didn't meet a standard. But then we said, hey, you can go into Fast Cap, be a solo agent over here. We still love you. You can, but to be on our team, our lead generation, inbound lead team, the standards is what we measure. It's not personal. It just it's freedom when you can run a business like that.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, we got time for one more. Yes, that was amazing. Amen. Real power.
Growing up, I grew up with a poverty mindset. Joined the military, learned a little bit more about, I was a W-2 employee for 24 years, and then I became an entrepreneur, became a real estate agent. One of the reasons why I came to EXP is for the future, right? It's where you come to grow and to be able to get to the point where you can retire and not be that 75-year-old agent that just, is still opening doors, right? So what are some wealth building strategies that have made the most impact to create that financial freedom for you to be able to, that for your family and create that multi-generational wealth?
Are we talking rev share?
And besides commission and rev share. And
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah. So.
And the reason why I say that is money can come in, but if you don't manage it right, it can go right out the window. Like you said,
True.
like Leo said, right? So what are some things that you have implemented, for wealth building strategies besides just commission and rev share? What are you doing with that money so that you're not only tied to that forever?
Right. So yeah, I mean, there's no question. I think to a certain degree, having money is almost as difficult as not having money, because when you don't have money, at least you know what you got to do. You got to get money. So when you have money, you're going to make first of all, you hire somebody, you get the best coach, the best person that you can, that's not in one dimension, that's going to tell you to do this one thing. And I think that's probably the best advice that you can get, is to have a coach for how to invest your wealth based upon what your goals are. But when I was coming back from Puerto Rico, I had just put $500,000 into a Class A apartment building that paid 8%. And I'm going to say this on everyone's behalf, because I think that the revenue share thing is one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen in my life in terms of creating wealth. But that $500,000, you got to make $1 million, live off some of that, pay your taxes to have $500,000 to put into any investment. And so the capital contribution there means you got to go make $1 million. That's not easy to do. And how many years would you have to do that? Well, that $500,000 at 8% is $3,333 a month. I'm looking at my revenue share check that's $350, sometimes $450 a month, and I'm like, I don't get real.
Hold on, wait, clear that up for them. Not $450.
Yeah.
Some of them
$450,000 in the best. $442, I think, was the best month that I've had in revenue share. And so, and this money is compounding and growing passive income, and it was 96% margin. So almost $20 million I've been paid in revenue share in 8 years of being in this company, and 96% of it came to the bottom line. I've never seen that in any business and anything I've ever done, and it's growing and multiplying. And so I put this, and I'm taking that money and I'm over here. Let me try this thing, that thing, put some over here, put some over there. And I put it into this apartment complex. By the way, I'm a GP on the deal. That's not passive income, by the way. If you've ever GP'd any multifamily, anybody in here, that is not passive income. 5 meetings a week. So I know this deal. I underwrote the deal, and it still hasn't paid me even the 8% yet. So, you're gonna have investments that hit and miss. That's part of it. But I came back and said, God was pulling me to do this. And I was like, this is part of the reason I quit drinking. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to really, truly buckle down. But the reason I built the $100,000 a month team that I have is because I've done it before and I know how to do it. But it's because we all have an opportunity to create massive generational wealth in a way that doesn't require you to invest capital into. And that doesn't exist in any other way, shape, or form. And I'm not going to ask the whole room, but I had 28 rentals when I was 28 years old. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. There wasn't a chapter in there about 07 and 08. That didn't. So there was this me writing checks for $6,500 to these rentals like that. It wasn't passive income. That didn't turn into passive income. I think passive income is way more challenging and difficult to create for yourself than most people ever lead on to be. And yet here we are sitting in this vehicle, this platform of EXP that has the ability, by introducing people to this great group of people that are here today that all have the same heart and want to help them go from wherever they're at in their journey to the next level for them, because you're at a certain place in your life journey, and some people are just now getting into this earning, to earn to take care of the household, and everybody's all at a different place, but we get to actually make an impact on people's lives by introducing into this company, and we can create generational wealth by doing that. And so for me, I said it would be pretty selfish of me to just keep this money. Why don't I build a better system for helping other agents and let them all leverage that to recruit more agents into what we're doing? And so I said all that just to say, like, we're sitting at a time and place, and 5 years from now, you could be in a financial place that I think is unachievable by any other means that there is possible. And so I think in introducing agents to this company and us all as a family helping them with the challenges of this ain't an easy business, right? Like, you hear the stories up here, like we've all been beat up, bloodied, and bruised, and gone through some really tough times to get to the level of success, only to realize there was no exit. Like, I built a prison. My real estate team was a prison, and I literally put the bars up myself, like, and around me, and there was no way out of it. And so, we're very blessed, I think, to all be in this company and have the ability to create passive income that is going to multiply. And so I think that's the vehicle, I think, that doesn't exist in any other way, shape, or form. And any other investments I've ever done, they don't multiply. So, it's just an opportunity of a lifetime. And so I think at all costs, don't miss on that. Become an expert, become mastery at that will pay you dividends for a long time. And so just become great at having conversations. It's the same principle. Conversations per day with people who want to buy and sell. Conversations per day with people who are in real estate, have real estate license, and want to grow. That is a qualified person for us to try to help. And you'll I think for all of us at a certain point, helping the team and helping, the agents on my team was more rewarding than me going and doing another listing. And then helping an agent change their life because now they can earn as much money as they want in real estate became the thing that was most fulfilling for me. And now it's like, how many lives can we impact? How far in this life that we've been given, we're here, how many lives can we impact? And I think that's, 8,000 agents in Honey Badger Nation. That's awesome. Well, why can't it be 30,000? Why can't it be 50,000? Because it's measuring impact. How many lives can we change? And so I would say that I think it will be more fulfilling on your journey as well. As that's another benefit of it. But don't miss on that. I think it's I don't know of a better way. If I did, I would be telling you.
Amen.
I really, this is important for me to share with you, and I think it might be a cliche, you've heard it, but it's changed my life. You're one relationship away from the rest of your life changing.
Amen.
And I've made it a personal mission to be in the right rooms. Like Jay said it earlier, the demonstration that you can observe from others, they give you permission to dream. They show you what's possible. If you are not willing to invest to get in the right rooms or, again, the right systems or go to the conferences, like, how are you going to see what's possible? Those of you who started off today, this might be the first event that you're now opening up your mind to see what's possible. I remember calling Jay when I was in Europe and I was like, hey man, I got an opportunity to buy a building in Orlando. You're gonna be in town. And he actually came and looked at it with us. And I was like, I think I figured out how I'm gonna get the money for it. It was because I was in the right rooms and I knew who to reach out to and I had trust equity. I think we underestimate the power of trust equity and we underestimate the power of network equity. Network equity, I have built wealth by being in the right rooms with people that have seen my work ethics and seen that I'm a savage when it comes to work, but I had never realized what was possible until I got into those rooms. That's why you need to go to their conference so that you could see what these women did. 5 years ago, they were around a pool at Cabo, which you guys should go to Cabo as well, and dreaming, and look at what they've built. an 8-figure business that is impacting women beyond, that's a wealth strategy there. And now I remember telling them, I was like, girl, when you guys gonna start recruiting on this, a rev share thing? They're like, Leo built co-sponsor for us. I was like, yes. Like there are so many avenues of how you can make wealth with this tool, that platform that we have. You just gotta get in the right rooms with the right people. With them, they give me permission. Like now I got a very elite group of women that I could give an avatar. You gotta make $100,000 or more, because now the conversation is next level for me. Like, how can I help them scale? Right? How can I help them build something? Or what's their recruiting strategy? What's their passive income strategy? Right? The conversations become so much funner. What are we doing to invest? Don't go into the OA. Be smart enough to have an investment advisor. I remember when Leo said his net worth was $5 million. I remember the first time my investment advisor told me that, and I was like, he said, I'm gonna take you from $1 million to $5 million. I was like, bro, those folks, my first million in my family. I'm happy with $1 million. He was like, no, I want to show you that there's a next level. 5 million. There's a next level. 10 million. And I watched it happen. And he says, the compound effect of rev share. I mean, he was so excited about that. But then making strategic investments, strategic partnerships that are aligned with the nucleus. Like Jay said, keep it simple, but you'll be amazed what happens when you get in the right rooms and you surround yourself with people that give you permission to expand. I remember calling this guy and said, you were crazy. I said, yeah, because I'm a honey badger, bro. Like, you give me permission to think big. And I am the scrappiest person, right? But I will pick up the phone and put a deal together because I believe in the people that surround me, and they give me the momentum to bet on something wild, like buying a Keller Williams building at the same time like Keller Williams suing me and still closing it, and then they end up being my tenant. And now opening the first culture center in Orlando, to where we're gonna have 300 plus agents, and they're all gonna be a part of the vision, right? But I just want to give you permission to really expand your mind. Network equity, relationship equity, and trust equity.
Love it. Mario. Oh, this guy has 2 questions. All right.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I mean, listen, it's a lot of the real estate offices that we see out there, it looks like people are going to die. Like literally, it's like, it feels like a funeral home. And, we've kind of believed in this idea of a personal development center that disguised as a real estate office. And my partner Gil and I, and many of you guys know, we're blessed to be co-sponsors with you guys. And we're the type of people that when you partner with me, you partner with all my partners. My partners in Orlando, Gil, and I, which is the same building that Jay went to, and we took a picture, we took a selfie with their biggest payout that they had done that.
But their rev share was like
$10,000 or something like that. The whole company in that office that month of what they paid out in profit share. And this is not a bash. This is just, at the time when we're like,
there's a difference.
There's a difference, right? But I had my own office, he had his own office, and we decided what happens if we come together. I wanted to buy a building, he wanted to buy a building, and this beautiful 13,000 historic buildings came on the market, and he's like, you want to buy the Keller Williams Plaza? I was like, really? I was like, it's for sale? He's like, yeah, they're not buying it. I was like, and they're gonna be our tenants? Like, this is great. I was like, how long before we kick them out? No, just okay. But no, it really was. They were but it was a perfect opportunity for us to come together. But it's a personal development center. It's a place where we build leaders. It's a place where we give them a platform to become the next great speakers, thought leaders in our community, where people come together and share best practices, whether you want to start your YouTube channel, whether you want to start your social media channel, whether you want to be a killer on expires and FISBOs, and everybody just comes together, but we're all technically partners in the building. So we all contribute to the space. We all contribute. It's a recruiting mecca center. I mean, it is literally a recruiting mega center because we put our partners at the front of the room to teach, and they're the stars. We're not the ones teaching. They're the stars because they're the practitioners. And everybody invites everyone to the events. We have rock star rallies. And this has just been something that's been pretty cool. So it's kind of like a new concept of how our office, culture is going to help develop other leaders. And we now see a lot of culture centers now. People are calling us like, how are you running yours? We invite people to fly in and come see ours. Ours is going to have a coffee shop. Where's Lisa? Did she leave? Anyways, coffee shop. It'll have a wellness clinic inside of it for hormone therapy and, just wellness education, a studio, as well, and of course we'll have some services. But everybody pays a part of the fee. Like everybody, it's pay. We pay a success fee when we close. Everybody feels like an owner there. Everybody feels like a leader there. Everybody feels like a speaker, a coach. We have a coaches and council meeting. Everybody makes decisions for the to protect the culture there. So it's going to be really exciting, and it will not feel like a real estate office. It literally feels like a place you go to just develop other human beings to be great leaders. So we're really excited about that. I mean, some people are just going to say it's just an office, but once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. You can't unsee it. So we're really excited about that. I think you guys are also turning yours into obviously the same concept, or within your market, however it fits for your people. But it's really special to have a, and you don't have to come to the office every day, but when you do, it's enough of a nice little, like, I don't know, energy boost to say like I'm fired up. So yeah.
Oh, that cool, awesome, thank you.
Guys, if y'all don't know, y'all are part of Global Alliance and y'all are part of Honey Badger Nation. They are our upline. Revenue share has changed y'all's lives. I tell our agents to dream, before we used to dream little, because we were a small little organization, but not leaders like y'all. Now I just told Jay, hey, there's no reason why we can't build something massive, something incredible, something huge. So I tell our agents there's no limit to what we can build and dream big. Revenue share change y'all's lives. Yep. What can you tell our agents, just like Jane was asking earlier, for them, in a sense, to say, hey, let's take action. Let's bring on more agents. Let's show this opportunity. Let's bring them into these rooms and let's grow. What can you tell them to ignite them today so when they leave out of here fired up, they take action and they do the action they need to do, or that they need to be doing. For the next event, that agent is here and they're growing their revenue.
Yeah, I would say, I get to see, from across the organization who is growing like crazy and who's not. And I would say that getting plugged in is everything. We have called the offer that you can invite to is leverage my $100,000 a month marketing and implementation team to double your business in 12 months. No one else can say that. So my team does all the implementation. Everything that I talked about as far as lead generation and what we do that for free for any agent that comes and partners with us. That's the leverage you have when you're having a conversation. It's a skill set, no different than you call your first expired, they hang up on you and you're like, okay, that didn't feel good. You have to get the marbles out of your mouth and just learn how to invite people. But if you invite them to our Thursday call, which is at noon tomorrow, I did this by accident. I was trying to recruit a team that was leaving Keller Williams. They were going to go to Compass. They were doing 40 or 50 transactions, ballers. They're great, great people. And I was like, man, I don't want to not get these people. And so I said, I'm going to bring my whole team on the call. This was an accident. I had no idea we were going to do this at scale. And so I brought the whole team on and I let them introduce what they do, because I talk about it, but they actually do it. So it's different. And so they went through step by step what we do for an agent. And I was sitting there listening going, if people ever saw this, they would all join. Like, there's no way you wouldn't join, because they're all A players. I don't mess with B players. So they're world class at what they do. And we got the team. And I said, we're going to go to a format where we introduce the team to here's going to be your team. Like, it's essentially agents, we always get taxed. Either we're getting taxed by the broker, or they bring in Op City and now you're on a 50-50 split, or Zillow wants 41%. Everybody that knows how to do what my team knows how to do, they take a lot from you. And we don't take anything. So we're just going to help you build your business, help you build your brand, help you build your content aligned to that, all done for you for free. That offer is such a good offer that 1 out of 2 people that join that, we broke Zoom last week with this. Like, we only been doing it for 3 weeks now. 3 weeks. The second one, we hit the limit of Zoom and broke Zoom. So like, that's the offer you have. And if you don't know the link you have to send someone then you're not plugged in, right? So you just need to get plugged in, get trained, get in the environment, and stay in the pocket. I kick people out of the group. If you don't show up to the calls, I know you're not there. So I'm going to let people know this is for the people that are obsessed. There's a seat at the table for you as long as you show up. So if you show up, I show up every week. If it's worth my time, then it's surely worth yours. So be on the trainings. And if you want to look up a year from now and never have to sell a house again, that's real for you. That's a possibility for you if you stay plugged in. That's a real opportunity. And we built this to 8,000 agents without an offer like this. Yeah. Right. And so like it's extremely high value for the agent. and my team's phenomenal. I can't say enough about them, but just get plugged in and just join the weekly calls, and you're just going to have conversations. There's not very many agents on the planet that if we couldn't help them sell 2 to 3 more deals a month, that doesn't solve most of their problems. That no broker is going to do that for them, and if they do, they're going to charge them a lot. And so it's just an opportunity to get them plugged into something that's like a tuning fork to what their biggest problem is. Like I was talking about with buyers and sellers, we want to understand the avatar. Log into your Facebook, and Matt, I can tell you all about all the stuff that I'd said, but if I said, go do that, do you all have any clue where to start? Log into your face. I can't do it. I can't even make a YouTube banner without my head being above the fold. Like that stuff that's not what I'm good at. And it's not what most people are. And so they didn't tell us we had to learn all these things when we got into real estate. So our team does this all for you on your behalf. You just have to plug into it. If you guys all have access to it, get with Mario. He'll hook you up and make sure you have all the links you need. Not Mario. Ollie. There you go. We'll get you hooked up. Reach out to me.
Revenue share, obviously, we're passionate about it. Obviously, it's not everyone's interested in it, but they should. I remember when I was coming over, I just wanted to sell a lot of homes. And then Jay was like, I want to sell 200 homes. And then, he would coach me, but he was like, hey, this revenue share thing is real. And I was like, I don't care about that, Jay. I don't care about that. And I remember at the time you were making about $80,000 a month. And he was like, you're only 2 years behind me. You're only 2 years. I was like, Jay, just whatever. But it didn't hit me until, once that first check started coming in and things started really, I was like, oh my God, 2,800, 8,000, 10,000. Then I started paying attention. I didn't even know how that happened, but I figured something out. I became a world-class inviter. Just be a world-class inviter. He's got the platform. They've got the conferences. You've got the leadership. Invite people to an opportunity where they can grow their business and build, systems and processes and be around leaders that have proven formulas. And if you can at least understand becoming a world-class inviter, revenue share will incentivize your leadership and the connections that you have because you're helping people in their business. Whatever journey they're on, maybe they just want to sell 1 home a month. Maybe it's 2. But if you could be the one, like Leo said, I can help you take your business from here to here by inviting you to the right rooms. Imagine just being paid for being world-class inviters. If you could just shift your mind to that, here's what happens. You don't recognize that until your mom gets sick with cancer. You could take 6 months off and spend 6 months off with her to make sure she gets the best care. See, EXP, we throw these numbers out, but it's the moments that change everything that for me, I'm more passionate about it than ever. So that if you have to take off time with your family, you can be there in those moments that matter. Yeah, it's fine for the bags, the shoes, the buildings, and all that stuff. That's fine. But it's the little moments where I even have someone say, I'm a single mom and I don't have to take my daughter out of gymnastics because I didn't have a closing this month. And my kids can have what they want. It's those little details, the little moments, just because you figured this out. Invite, plug them in, solve a problem for them. And this is incentivized leadership. You are the ones building this company and we build it with great people. Who do you want to be in business with? Invite them to be around us. We'll help you. You don't do this alone. He said, if you're not on his calendar, setting up third-party validation calls or third-party calls, what are you doing? If you really want to grow revenue share, or if you're not inviting them to these amazing, did you guys get value, even outside of revenue share today? Did you guys get any value that you can go and implement in your business with what Leo said or Jay said today? That in itself, you now reach out to someone and you say, hey, here are my notes. I just want you to pour into them, but make sure they don't miss the next one. And you're going to watch how revenue share starts chipping away and it starts like, wow, that's nice. 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. We're not saying I want 350,000 a month, but I'm just saying I'll take 3,500. So it's the little things that matter and that compound over time. One day you'll wake up, it's 10,000. Next thing you know, it's 20,000. And those are life-changing numbers for some people.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah.
Well, hey guys, I want to thank Mario and everyone here, but you guys have to dream bigger. You guys have a great organization. The co-sponsorship changed the game.
Everything.
They built it to 80,000 together with all the other leaders. You guys can 10x this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing now with co-sponsorship.
I'm intermingled with them. They
We're
may know
all
they got
incestuous,
them.
like,
We're all together. I'm with the girls with Brent. Mari and I are working together. Everyone can work together. That's the power. But you gotta dream big. You really, and you gotta find your why. If you don't find your why, your passion for it, it's not gonna go anywhere. So I just want you to guys know that you guys are very fortunate to have great leaders here, and let's grow.
It doesn't take a lot of time. I just need you guys to know that. Like, what? Maybe if 2 hours a week, if they can dedicate 2 hours a week to it, y'all are gonna grow like crazy here.
Big Fridays,
That's
guys.
it.
We
That's
have
it.
Freedom Fridays. Big Friday and an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on how fast you want it. Y'all see me on Fridays. It's agent attraction all day on Friday. I'm not doing anything else but agent attraction because I want to get 500 agents ASAP. I want to get 5,000 agents ASAP. Guys, we have so many great leaders here. You need leads, Jay got you. You need to build a team, Vero got you. The girls are greater here. We have so many amazing agents in this group. There's no reason why we shouldn't all be growing as fast as possible.
They're all coming. They're all coming. This is, I mean it when I say this, like, this is the most powerful group I've seen in a long time at EXP. Like, that's all of you guys. Like, in every interaction I have with you guys, I'm more and more impressed. People would be crazy not to be in alignment with you guys. You guys add a ton of value, and I really respect that.
And if you need the Latina flavor, y'all just call me. I got you. Okay?
You just call me. We'll build the largest force. I promise you that. But no, like the alignment here is ridiculous. We didn't have the ability to partner with others before. Like him and I would stay up at night, like, oh man, that co-sponsor thing might work. I'm like, we really imagine an opportunity to now partner with so many amazing leaders. It's a dream to be in business with. I got them in my phone as, Girls with Grit, like GWG, like I have a group chat with them, like, hey ladies, like, and Daniel and Jay, and it's just so pretty. It's awesome that there's not one person in this company that can't help you solve a problem.
Amen.
And you're one partnership away from your business changing forever. And that's the power of this company. Let's go help more people. We're for the next bull run. Like, this is about to get real fun. And with Leo at the helm, and like he said, us as integrated leaders, distributed leadership, it's really exciting times.
Awesome. Hey guys, would you all join me in putting your hands together for Jay? Thank you guys all so much for being here. We've got the room for another happy hour. I don't know. Hang out, take some photos. We got a backdrop over there. Thank you guys all so much for being here. We got one more raffle we're going to do away. Yeah, apparently Linda brought HEB gift card.
I was just kidding, Linda, but it sounded good. I don't know where the Meritage girls went. They abandoned me.
All right. All right. Well, we're going to do two more. First one's for Linda, $75